Last year, I was one of the first people down. This year, I'm here to f shit up.
The hype is real. Everybody's incredibly excited.
Steph, I'm going to kill you, and it's not your fault. Don't be too hard on yourself.
Oh, I don't even know what to say to Tucker. That's not like full of expletives.
This is proper H1Z1 players going at each other now.
I'm coming after you, and I'm gonna kill you.
My God, man, this is insane.
Crispy is definitely the worst player at H1 I've ever seen.
This is madness.
All-Stars, too f***ing easy.
I am going to kill every last one. I can't do this.
Don't tell me to say that.
Is this an angry face?
This is all for a hype sizzle reel. Please don't hate me.
This is the biggest stage. This is Twitchcon.
75 of the best players in the world into the same game. Nobody knows what's gonna happen.
Even though you might tell yourself you're not nervous at all, it's for a lot of money.
Heart's pumping, palms are sweating, adrenaline's right. Like, it's just one of the most unique experiences.
It's an important moment for every H1Z1 player.
It's the reason I'm going to TwitchCon.
It's going to be a crazy battle, for sure.
For sure.
Play the end, roll the end tag.
Welcome back to the H1Z1 Arena and the Legends Invitational. It's true, I am Jose Sanchez, and I'm wearing my hizzy suit because it means I'm here for business, but I also like to party, and you're about to watch 3 intense back-to-back matches. Will Radic or Inbox defend their title? Will Sweet Dreams continue his tournament streak? Will I ever leave this stage? Or will we find a new #1 contender? Before we get to that, we're going to find out exactly what H1Z1 is for all of you who should already be familiar.
Welcome to H1Z1, a fast-paced, action-packed, single-elimination, massive arena shooter. Each match begins with up to 150 players dropping into the arena across a 100 square kilometer map. You start the game with nothing, so once your feet hit the ground, be ready to grab weapons, gear, and vehicles as you get into the action. Watch out, because as the match progresses, a toxic green gas begins creeping into the arena, pushing everybody towards the safe zone. You can survive the gas for a short time, but the longer the match goes, the deadlier it becomes. And if the gas doesn't kill you, there are 149 other players trying to. So play it smart and make every shot count, because only the last person standing will claim victory, and then the whole battle begins again.
And the Legends Invitational has some of the best H1 players from all around the world. Players including the 2016 defending champions Inboxes and Radic, as well as popular personalities like Ninja, Flamehopper, Stormin, Gotaga, Iceco. 3 matches are going to happen right before your very eyes, consisting of scores. They're going to be a mixture of placement and kills. There's a $250,000 prize pool, with the winner coming out with, 80 grand, which is all in a day's work. The top 10 kills is going to get you a little extra cash. You get for the most kills in each match, you get $5,000, so that's a little incentive if you're not trying to play it safe. As I mentioned earlier, players from all around the world, players from Australia, Brazil, Sweden, China, Korea, France, America, they've all gathered here today for one hell of an experience. And hopefully somebody's going to leave a whole lot richer. And we've got Kelly Link on stage to talk to some players. Kelly. Just kidding. Just kidding, I wasn't talking to Kelly. We actually have our casters who are going to start things off because Kelly is over there and our casters are right there.
We're right here. We're right here, Jose, and we're ready to start this one off. We got a lot of the housekeeping out of the way. My name is Rich Campbell, and I am joined by Jason Supersonic Burns, ready to start this one off. Can already see, we got our 75 legends in seats.
Yeah, 75 legends sat down, was walking around, kind of talking with them. Well, a couple of them got nerves, a lot of them ready to just get in and play, just want to get this going. They definitely want to start exchanging some blows.
Yeah, we already heard quite a bit about the format. Obviously, a huge prize pool on the line, but one of the nice things is when Jose was actually talking about all that, we were speaking to the players. I know I got to talk to Cloaksy a little bit, knowing him for quite some time, and one of the big things that he was saying, with the competition so fierce like it is here today, with 75 of the best players being invited from across the world, there are certain players that some players are a little bit more scared of. So in his particular scenario, he was saying there are 20 players that he's really looking for in the kill feed, and once they go down, he's going to be a little bit more confident. But also, if you start seeing names in the kill feed, even if the person did win the exchange, you want to maybe collapse on them, try to get the pinch going, and eliminate them when they're a little bit down in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You definitely want to be able to make those plays, and typically you want to take that pinch play if you can. If that person's available and you know that they were just in exchange, they're in a weak spot, go ahead and knock them out. But yeah, if there's a guy that you are worried about and you've got an open shot on him, eliminate him there. But you want those guys to start falling off. You're going to feel more and more comfortable as it goes on. One, you're getting closer and closer to money. Two, you're getting closer and closer to first because you know that the other guy that could take it from you is already out of the match.
Yeah, so of course, as we have mentioned, $250,000 are going to be on the line here. First place taking $80,000 of that. But we should really talk about the faces that some of these guys are saying that they are worried about. Already mentioned by Jose was Sweet Dreams. Obviously a very strong contender, but also Prox and Aladdin came out in a big way when we were back at DreamHack. I feel like these are players that players are going to be keeping an eye on as well.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Isco's here, who qualified in last year and is now on the invite list for this one. He showed up big in qualifiers, showed up on the actual LAN that in the finals that one too. And then we've got other players that were really strong competitors that just that first game last year, much like it was this year in Challengers, was just absolutely stacked. So we had players that got knocked out, and last year was only the winner that went on. So we got guys like Nightwalker and Flamehopper who got really close to getting in. But didn't make it last year, and they're on the invite list this year. So those guys are going to have an attempt at this.
Yeah, and this format slightly more forgiving, right?
Yeah,
so we're gonna have 3 games here, and the main thing is going to be placement is worth points. Kills are also going to be worth points. So when we actually do look at everything, if you maybe come out and have a really bad first game, you know, you drop right next to someone that you don't want to be against, you're not able to pick up a weapon right off the rip, you get taken down early. You can come back in those next 2 games, get a solid finish, and actually take the entire thing. So if you manage to get first, you just get so many points. We already saw just how much that can ripple out.
Oh yeah, first place definitely gets you up there. I mean, getting a first place, you can feel pretty comfortable as long as you don't have 2 just absolutely horrible, like first death type of games. You should be in that top 10. Getting a first place puts you up there. I mean, that's a ton of points for first. And back to the players really quick. I mean, we have the winners from last year as well. So we have Radic and Inboxes here again, seeing if maybe they can repeat. And it looks like we got Flame up on camera, juggling some fruit a little bit there.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly how you are supposed to prepare for this Legends Invitational.
That's how you get warm. And the other guys aren't onto it. They haven't caught onto it and not quite privy to it. Flamehopper's going to be warm going in. He's getting the hands. He's getting the, you know.
Got to get that blood flowing before you do jump in here, especially when you are going to be playing against all of the best players in the world. But the other thing to note, when we talk about money, it's definitely going to affect how people play. They're going to try to target that high placement, obviously, but certain players may just go for kills. We saw this play out yesterday when we actually jumped in and did that All-Stars Invitational. 5K for each match for whoever brings in the top kills.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that definitely played in. We saw some of the guys in the All-Stars, once they start getting into those third games where they're like, I've got no chance at making top 10 at this point. I want money still. So then they just started going for kills. They started chasing it down. We saw some crazy stuff in the last game. Who was it that launched the car? I mean, we just saw people going for insane jump outs. It was a lot of fun in Game 3.
Yeah, just rushing in, trying to make these close range scenarios, things like that. People actually turning on the sirens in their police cars. So it was just one of those things where a lot of players just try to go for kills. When we get here today, a few of the players were saying, you know, that 5K is a huge incentive. Maybe we'll just go for that 5K. But I don't necessarily think that's the best way to go about it. But I think the main thing is if you go for those kills early on, you're not going to be able to get to the late game, which is where we usually see that big windfall of kills.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I think that it is going to have some effect. I mean, the $5,000 has an effect, but first place is 80K. Like, until you get to Game 3, I just don't know if there's anybody in this lineup. We saw people in All-Stars yesterday do it in Game 1 and Game 2. I just don't know that I would expect any of these guys, after knowing them for as long as I have, I don't see them going for that in Game 1, Game 2.
Well, that's the big thing, too. I mean, if you're invited here, you kind of have to have that confidence that you can take that 80K, that you can take that 50K for second place. So, I mean, even if you do come in 10th place, you're still going to be netting $2,000.
I mean, for some of these guys, they're coming from all the way around the world. You got a $5,000 trip that you're on already. I mean, $5,000 is a break-even point. That doesn't feel good. You want to walk away and go back with more than you came with.
Yeah, exactly. I think the main thing is if you don't go for a top finish, you're probably not going to be able to get the top kills. I think that's just something that we really did see yesterday in All-Stars. Like, look, the top kills, I'm not sure if it was every time. I know in at least 2 games, top kills went to, actually, no, it was all 3 games. Top kills actually went to the number 1 finish. So when we jump in here, it's like, if I don't necessarily.
Pays off.
I kind of feel like the 5K is almost was just a bonus yesterday for coming in first place.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, you're able to isolate fights more when you get down to the lower player counts, and everybody's starting to like want to play for first. That guy that can play aggressive but play it smart to where he's cutting the angle so that he's not getting pinched, but he's able to isolate one-on-one fights, has a much higher chance of getting a high kill total. Those end games is really where you get all of those kills. You're not trying to get knocked out early. You start feeling more comfortable towards the end. You start settling in towards the ends of these matches. The beginning is the really stressful part. Somebody could be around any corner. You start knowing where everybody is at the end. And these guys definitely, with the number of hours they have, after hearing where fights are, they'll be able to tell the distance. They'll know exactly where everybody's at, and they'll be able to isolate one-on-ones.
Well, we have talked about what we expect to see out of the players, but it is time to actually see what they are going to do. Jump in and get this one started. We're about to get in game. Twitchcon has been absolutely insane. We've seen challengers. We've gotten to see all-stars, but now it is time to kick it off with our legends jumping in right now. Let's see how this break looks. Coming in, we are going to jump right on to Flamehopper. You saw him juggling. Now let's see what he can do in this scavenging portion of the game.
Early cop car. Going to be able to grab one, and Gabe is going to snatch one out from Jordy. So he's going to have a vehicle as he goes ahead and takes off. And you are going to see a lot of tags here today, which is a little bit different than what we saw during All-Stars. A lot of these guys going to be rocking their organization tags, so you'll be able to see what pro orgs they're playing for. Sweet Dreams, our winner of DreamHack Atlanta, playing for Rogue. Getting a little, needs a helmet still, got a shotgun, got a AK there, so he's got a little bit of short range, a little bit of long range. Needs to get a few more items there. Definitely not going to feel comfortable. This opening phase is going to play a little bit slower. I don't expect us to see kills quite as quickly as we did in All-Stars. These guys are playing for the win.
Now we're jumping on with another member of Rogue, and we could see getting those early helmets definitely going to be really important. Want to be able to stockpile quite a few of those in this early phase of the game. Now we're going to be jumping on with a player from Echo Fox, but that first kill going to come in right now. It looks like we're actually going to see World's Best Gaming Rogue going down.
Yeah, Rogue from World Best going to go down to Thump from Rogue. And we've got Howie here, and it looks like he was in a fight with somebody at some point, was able to get away, though, and get a little bit of loot. He's going to heal up. Aqua here coming up on to Noble Monster. He definitely doesn't know that he's there yet. They're not close enough to hear each other. We'll see if they run into each other at some point. But Aqua going to hang out here for a second. It looks like he's probably shredding a couple items, making some bandages, just trying to get his loot up, trying to get more resources to use for the late game. One of the other things that we probably didn't see too much of in the All-Stars yesterday is that these guys are picking up all the random shirts, everything off the ground to shred them and have enough bandages to make it into the end of the game. So a lot of those guys probably didn't have those resources. These guys are much more methodical in their looting.
Expecting to see quite a few changes as we actually do jump in with Legends. This is the absolute pinnacle of play. When we saw All-Stars, yeah, there were a lot of faces that we love to see play the game, and extremely entertaining, but some of their decisions going to be a little bit questionable from time to time.
Yeah,
with challengers, you also have a more stratified group as well. I think we saw some of that top-level play, and we saw some players that maybe we're not quite on the same level as that top tier, but now when we do jump in right now, we are only seeing the best, and we're going to see this first safe zone right now. It's got a little bit of PV and a little bit of Harris Bluffs, and right now we do see some, lifted, getting into a little bit of a fight right now, and this is the start of that war of attrition.
This is two monster players, Lifted and Sharima. Both were battling it out in some of the preseasons for first place on that leaderboard, so both these guys are absolute monster shots. Looks like we're not going to see that engagement happen for too long. And back to the to the way that this was set up, I think the All-Stars, one of the changes is that we've split All-Stars and Legends this year, where typically they were kind of placed together, which I think the All-Stars are probably happy to not have some of these guys in their bracket. These guys here, though, is much harder for them this year.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, when we talk to the players straight up just saying this is one of the hardest lineups they've seen, Flamehopper moving very close in, taking a huge amount of damage to start things off, dropping all the way down to around 36. All that damage going to be coming out from Teenage. Teenage may try to engage here. One of the nice things with Flamehopper, when we actually did see Flamehopper outside of the vehicle, even the way he was moving, slightly strafing, just making sure if anyone did engage with him, he would be able to avoid a lot of that initial damage. But Teenage does find him inside of that police car and gets some serious damage done. Flamehopper should be able to heal up here without a problem, moving out in this police car, trying to put as much space between himself and Teenage.
Yeah, absolutely, and Viva gonna find herself a free car. You can tell that it was not touched before because as she jumped in, she had the skin setting set different. So brand new car, 100% health, 100% gas on it, which is nice. She definitely would have preferred a Jeep or a cop car versus the pickup truck, but you prefer a vehicle over no vehicle every time. Symphony here from Team Caliber getting some shots thrown from Keebler off of World Best, and we have Moment coming in. Might run into Illusion. Illusion, a monster player out of the Asian region of the game. Absolute monster player. He used to play on the NA servers a lot too.
Yeah, well, Illusion right now seems very content just staying inside of this gas station. We actually saw this position being really strong yesterday. We saw Dr. Disrespect in a similar location. Haunted ran right into a shotgun. So Illusion, pretty content here, just hanging out. Gonna leave that door open, hoping that someone does try to contest. Having pretty decent odds here in what's in some cases can be a 50-50 inside of a building at close range. Jumping now back on board with Illusion. Okay, we're actually going to see Illusion try to rotate out here, getting into that cop car right away. Moman not going to follow, going to go inside of the gas station to see what scraps were left behind by Illusion. Aladdin letting a few shots out here.
Yep. We also missed our the second kill of the game, so Gas Runner from World Best Gaming going to get taken out there. We are on board with Aladdin over here in the junkyard area. Still getting a little bit of loot. Aladdin, another guy that showed up big on land at DreamHack. And we've now got Noble Monster taking a few shots out towards Crumb. Doesn't look like he took any real shots at the car. It looks like he fired one off just to kind of let him know that he was there. And Crumb is going to go ahead and separate off, not take that fight. Going to jump on board with Aqua. Still getting looted up. We are still in the loot phase. So loot phase here with pros lasts a little bit longer than it does with the All-Stars. One of the things that changes is that All-Stars start hearing the gas go off and they start moving. These guys have a very, very good understanding of the pacing of the gas and how long they have based on if they're on foot or what car they're in, how soon they have to leave from the time that siren goes off to stay ahead of it. Or do they want to sit in the gas? They know exactly how long they can sit in the gas. Do they have the medical supplies to make it through? So we're going to see the early phase last a little bit longer with these guys than we did with All-Stars.
Yeah, that is a big thing. They know exactly how to ride the gas. When we watch something like All-Stars, you'll see players actually choking out. But one of the things that is going to be interesting, because we've seen it play out in a number of different ways, is going to be this drop right here. And right out of the gates where you're going to see that hunting rifle has plummeted down into this arena.
Yep, we've got Isco here, Charles PBF. Two of the players that have traveled a long ways to get here. Isco coming out of South Korea. Charles coming all the way up from Brazil. I don't think we're going to see this fight, though. If they do notice each other, most likely they will disengage this early in the match. And we do have quite a bit of PV still in this early safe zone. So we'll have to see if it decides to pull out or if we end up in PV for the finish.
I would love to see a PV finish here, especially with the caliber of players.
None
of them want to see it, or none of them want to be in that scenario. Obviously very stressful. It is exactly what I want to see, though.
Yeah, it's definitely always fun to watch as the commentators and the spectators. I absolutely love watching it, but as a player that's put a lot of hours in with these guys, I feel the pain. It is a hard spot to try and play out of. There's a lot that goes into close range combat, so it's definitely a hard place to play out of. Sicko FPS going to throw a couple shots in the direction of Viva. Catches her once in her two-hit. Going to take it down to one shot left on it. She'll be able to get a heal off as she gets away.
You're definitely one of the guys, too, that does know the stressful situations to play in as well. I mean, we woke up this morning and you made me feel like I was going to have to solo cast. You said you wanted to try to jump into Legends.
I mean, I always want to play. I mean, this is a huge stage. This is an awesome spot to get to play in. I mean, they're definitely all excited to be here.
Yeah, definitely. You have so much prize money on the line as well. You can make a name for yourself if you haven't already. A lot of these guys already have with their tournament performances.
I'm just saying 80K would feel nice to go home with, so.
I have no idea what that would feel like, but I imagine it would be good. Now jumping on board.
You can see T-Hump here making a great decision. He's actually got a makeshift on. He's dropped his 2-hit onto the ground there, so he's protecting the 2-hit for later in the game. If he can keep that with him, he's going to pick it up. It doesn't have enough room in his bag, so he throws it on the ground, protects it from getting rid of early. So if he can get that and keep it with him all the way to the end game, it's definitely a lot better. The other thing is having it, if you have to traverse on foot through open field, having the 2-hit on allows you a little bit more time to get to cover.
Yeah, the thing as well, when you see a player doing something like that, how aggressive do they want to be? Do they want to just try to sacrifice that 1 hit to then throw the 2-hit on? Or do they still want to play more defensive even within that location?
It depends on the situation, which way they want to go with it. Most of these guys want to protect a 2-hit. You're typically, especially with the way that the combat update is, and a little bit longer delay on shot, you're not typically going to get just lasered to the chest 5 times at long range. So if you know you're going to be in a long range combat, you go ahead, throw it on the ground, wear the makeshift. If you think somebody's pushing at you, if he started to see a car come at him and he thought somebody was going to hop out on him in a close range encounter, he would immediately pick it up off the ground and it'll switch that makeshift back into his backpack and he'll be able to take it with him.
Now we are seeing some of these players trying to find good positioning here. Gas has already begun to spread. We're in that first ring right now. Loot phase starting to come to an end. It's definitely much longer with the legends, with these professional players, but it is just about coming to an end here. Illusion trying to find a shot onto Flamehopper at very far range.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a decent amount of loot here. He's got 200 rounds. He go ahead, picks up a little bit more. He's got 232 rounds now, so he's feeling pretty good on the amount of loot that he has. Not sure what kind of makeshifts materials he has. These guys are stacking him. They're trying to find extra tan military backpacks. They're trying to find duct tapes, extra helmets to break down. The other thing to note is that they carry a lot more helmets than people normally do. When you're in a game against guys that can 2-tap you from any range, these guys are sacrificing ammo to carry more helmets to try and protect themselves from those situations.
Yeah, and they're also players that can do a lot more with the amount of ammo that they do have. You know, they don't need to just stockpile so they can get in these rifling matches. They can really make all of their bullets count here. Now we do see Flamehopper is going to have very good cover here for both him and his vehicle inside of this little divot. Bazaar going to be set up in this POI. A potential fight could go down between Flamehopper and Bazaar.
I don't think Flamehopper has any intent. After the amount of stream snipe challenges he's done, he's become a very squirrely player. He's good at getting out of dodge quick. He doesn't want to take any fights until that end game.
And you can see right now rotating in this police car, not even staying within this location, just trying to glean some more information, see where players are on this map.
Great spot to do it from. I mean, there's a ton of little ridges. He's basically protected all the way around. If he crouches, he can hide almost anywhere, letting players know he's aggressively defending it. He's not aggressively chasing fights, but he is letting people know, I am here, do not come here. Because most of these guys aren't going to want that close range fight either. So by letting them know that he's there, less chance of them pushing into him. Candy Van and Apex Shade, Pineapples in the fairgrounds here. Drop Kid over at the T-tent on that far side of the screen that we can see. This here is probably one of the most hectic ending zones you can possibly have. We had it happen on the CDS server recently, and we went from about 120 players left to 12 in 45 seconds to a minute and a half. It's complete chaos if it closes in on that.
One of the other things I do want to note about what we saw from Flamehopper, yeah, he is aggressively defending, but one of the additional bonuses that he can have when he actually does throw out those shots is maybe actually clipping into the vehicle, putting a little bit of damage in early on in the game. As you can see right now, Blood Inferno already taking about half damage on his vehicle. Eventually that will start to rack up, especially this early on in the game. That vehicle will lose its boost very soon and then start degrading even further. And as soon as you see that bad boy on fire, You need to get out of dodge quick.
I mean, a lot of these guys like to use the cop cars too. They're used to playing in public matches where you can kind of slam on the e-brake, get a hard turn, dead stop the car, hop out, get some good shots, get back in the vehicle. As it starts to degrade, it also loses its handling. So at a certain point, doing those hard 90-degree pivot turns in the car and making use of it that way, that option goes away.
And that can be absolutely crucial. I mean, that's one of those ways that you close space, you provide yourself with cover, you can actually get up and be aggressive, create scenarios where you can engage, knock players out. It's really strong if you are in one of those scenarios where you see someone in the kill feed that you really want to target. You know that you can come in for the potential pinch or try to get the engagement going while they are already at a disadvantage. So if you start to lose that handling, you are going to lose a huge amount of the value that you do get out of that cop car. And we can hear the sirens once again ringing out here, Supersonic.
Yeah, so this next gas wave is going to go ahead and take off, and we are at 73 remain, and as we said, it plays a little bit slower. The action comes in just a little bit later in the match than we were going to see in All-Stars, but when it does come out, people are going to drop faster because these guys miss far less shots than we saw in the All-Stars.
Yeah, it's not only that. Obviously, you are going to see those high level of shots, and I'm very excited to actually see what these players can do. These are the guys that are going to be most adjusted to the new kickback that we actually do see out of some of the rifles. That they are going to be prepared to actually use that to their advantage, and they're also going to be prepared to try to maneuver around it. But the other thing that we are going to see out of these players is a higher map awareness. They are going to be trying to gather as much information as possible to actually know where the other players are so they can get into fights at prime situations. It kind of goes back to what we were just talking about with actually using different things like the cop car to try to come in for pinches, and that's going to make it, as soon as the powder keg gets lit, it is just going to be an all-out explosion because you want to get in on that fight and actually try to collapse in and finish up somebody else's supper if they weren't able to take a member down. Now, with this new safe zone that we're seeing right here, what do you expect to see out of some of these players?
I mean, right now it is starting to center in on towards that spot we were talking about where it's kind of chaotic over the fairgrounds there. There's a ton of players in that area. A lot of guys you're seeing here play a little bit different than what we saw yesterday too. We saw more people on the outside edge, where on the Legend side we're seeing guys play closer to the center so that they have a shorter distance to travel when they have to make it to the next safe zone in case the safe zone pulls away from them. They don't want to have to travel quite as far, especially guys on foot. They try to get to the middle. If you don't have a vehicle, you need to be able to get away. Vehicles in the middle typically get ripped apart. So having a vehicle in the middle of the safe zone doesn't always work out that well, and it looks like Doug is raw is going in there, going after that airdrop. The bombs are coming through. He's going to move, narrowly missing the mark there. Bomb plane a little off target, and Doug does escape.
Do want to say too, this is one of those things that we saw a lot at DreamHack. The more standard go at that drop, and that is just investing as many smokes as possible, running in and trying to get out before anybody does engage. Yesterday when we watched in the All-Stars, we saw Karma just kind of bullying it, no one going for it, but now Doug is raw, getting some big shots into Flamehopper. Flamehopper going to flip over, and he might fall down. He is bleeding heavily, and Doug is raw is in hot pursuit. Flamehopper going to be sent out of this one, and you can see Mountain FPS getting a little bit of work done there as well, but Doug is raw being absolutely unrelenting, especially after picking up some loot out of that drop as well, investing those smokes.
Yeah, that car flipping definitely cost that one for Flame. It ended up making him stationary. No shots had really hit him until the car flipped. As soon as the car went upside down, though, Doug was able to just throw those shots into the window on the stationary target. Flame got out, and by that time he was already down to one shot. He had no option but to try and hop in the car to get away, but the car doesn't have boost. It doesn't take off quite as fast, so throwing shots into that front window, he's able to get that last shot in.
A big kill coming in for Doug Israel, but one of the things to note, like you were saying, he's not going to really be able to take that police car as an extra advantage because it's already pretty much below that threshold. It's not going to be that valuable there. We could see off screen for a second, B90 Princess seemed to be a little bit low. Aladdin maybe trying to collapse in there and get a kill. Doug Israel.
better positioning. We lose Viva Labad to stay lifted from Rogue.
Well, to be honest, this shot right now is just an omen of things to come. It looks terrifying. This is going to be an absolute carnival of carnage when we do see this ring collapse more and more. Already seeing some of the fiercest competitors' names on the screen when we take that look overhead, but jumping on board with Stormin right now, trying to see if he can find some of that ideal positioning to prepare for a fight. Walking into this building very cautiously, actually going to find some ammunition here as well. But you can see already having a relatively high amount of ammunition, not necessarily wanting to pick up more, most likely trying to hold on to helmets, as you've already alluded to. Just so many two-taps can come in from names like this, but an out in FPS, going to let out a few shots from this window. Already seeing the location of Blood Inferno.
You can see he's gone ahead, dropped his AK, must have had a Magnum in there as an option, swaps the Magnum on, is just trying to eat up the vehicle. So, like I was saying, the center of this is probably the best, because if it centers on this spot, everybody's going to have to come in from the outside. The guys holding the outside buildings are most at risk of having to get into a close-range fight. If you're closer to the middle, there's a little, at least the guy rolling in the car isn't going to drive smash into a bunch of buildings and then hop out. But there's so many little nooks and crannies that you have to keep track of in here. All the little pop-up stores, all the little different portions of it, all have a doorway in that you can hide behind. So there's just so many spots to hide in there. It's going to be chaotic if it does close.
It's really hard to find that pocket, and like you said, a lot of them aren't going to have. A lot of them will have multiple entrances. Body armor going to be knocked off of Doug Israel. Doug Israel has been playing absolutely incredibly thus far. Going to play defensively here, needs to get some body armor for that additional protection. We saw some of those shots actually raining out from the Magnum a little bit earlier. We haven't seen too much of that weapon recently. Really strong in scenarios against vehicles.
Yeah, absolutely. It just powers through vehicles. It eats them alive. So definitely a strong one. We're here on board with lifted. Couple nice little rocks here. These spots work out really well, especially in a pinch. You can kind of set yourself between two rocks if somebody's shooting from two different sides, like 180 degrees out from each other. You can place yourself in a lot of different spots to cut those angles. Not a bad spot to hold. It looks like thought he was going to go ahead and take off in his vehicle there. Going to hang out here a little bit longer. Adrian driving by. He's going to throw out a couple shots towards Adrian. Try and eat away at the resources, which is what we've seen Bizarre doing actually to Doug is Raw over there. We've cut to him a couple times, and he's slowly just kind of eating away and taking that two-hit off of him. So we'll see if the war of attrition ends up working out for him.
Yeah, Bizarre has kind of been in that type of situation throughout the entirety of the game. You can really see Bizarre trying to find situations like that, whether it's putting a couple shots into a vehicle, taking a two-hit away, will definitely be one of those things where even if you don't get the kill, obviously the kill's flashy, you want to get the kill, you want to be in the highlight reel, and you also want to try to go for the $5,000. But every resource that you take away, that just makes it that much easier for someone to go down in the fight, and you can move that much further up in the remaining players. Right now, 69 players will remain, and the ring is starting to get very tight. We are going to have an absolute... The kill feed's just going to explode. Let's be honest. The kill feed's going to absolutely explode at some point.
It always does in these types of matches, and that's one of the things that's so exciting for me about this style of an esport is that it plays out so much different. You get to watch the tension build. You kind of get to see the story of each player as they play their way through the map, and then the ending just ends up... It's just always a glorious bloodbath at the end.
I like really being able to see the thought as well. I mean, you can already see the different play styles in this type of situation in the early phases of the game. Right now, jumping on with another member of World's Best, taking a little bit of damage from that gas in a fight with Cloak.
Gas nade on gas damage. Jordy going to have to back up a little bit off of that gas nade farther into the gas, but he does see it coming. He's going to be able to rotate around. Still very early in the game. He can kind of sit through the gas and out heal it. However, you have to keep rolling bandages. So this is basically War of Attrition still. Cloak is making him use all of his healing. Omni Seal is going to go down elsewhere on the map to Calzy, but this is just eating up healing for Jordy. Also, he's building up toxicity onto his body. So as that toxicity goes up, and we've got shots from Isco coming out, and Isco gets extremely low, but he's going to be able to turn that one around and take down Gotaga. But as you're going through and healing yourself up, you're just eating away at the bandages, and then the toxicity builds up and it starts doubling the damage of the gas. gas every weight hurts
Cloak
more.
trying to
Toxicity
do
doubles it.
Yeah, exactly. Cloak trying to do a good job of actually checking behind, and we are going to see that smoke go out as well. It looks like Cloak going to try to move back just a little bit. Jordy now outside of the gas, going to instantly be greeted by an absolute storm of bullets moving back into the gas right now, getting those bandages rolling. But toxicity, as you mentioned, will be a huge factor moving forward. Cloak has that truck, going to use it to get in better location here. Now he's going to have more defense from the players not on that line of the gas.
Cole J and Mig here hanging out, checking each other. Mig throwing a couple warning shots, trying to pre-fire that corner in case Cole J decides to chase. We are going to lose Nightwalker to Rhino elsewhere on the map. Looks like he may have gotten pinched between Rhino and Huskers. Jordy extremely low. Cloak still just trying to eat away at him. Can't get that final shot. Looks like Jordy does find the safe spot and manages to lay down for a second. As Cloak backs off, Jordy's going to be able to run inside and get healed up if he does have any healing left. I'm surprised the guy hasn't had to shred his shirt and pants yet to keep making bandages.
Yeah, I think the thing that we see out of Cloak, too, is he kind of knows he missed his shot there. He doesn't necessarily need to be aggressive and engage at this moment. But right now, Kyrie going to find himself in a very bad fight, and he is going to be taken down by Memo. But one of the things that we actually
steals it from boxes there.
That was actually a beautiful steal, and that is important when we do have that additional 5K on the line as well. But that's one of the things that you really do see with Cloak is he's one of these guys back in the day really known as just being an absolutely crazy sniper. He knows if you miss your shot, sometimes you don't need to get aggressive again. The opportunities will come up as well, and even though you maybe didn't get the kill, you still did win the fight.
Yeah, I mean, you still won it. I mean, he took a ton. We talk about attrition. He took a ton of resources away from Jordy. Jordy had to use a ton of bandages. He had to use med kits there. If he had any makeshifts, he wasn't making any more, so he was out of materials. He was eating through everything that Jordy had, just keeping him in the gas while building toxicity onto Jordy, so that in the late game, Jordy doesn't have that option to rotate back into the gas.
Isco now, we've seen quite a bit out of Isco, already picking up a kill here. One of the 63 players that do remain. Not many players have gotten into fights yet, but soon that will change with gas spreading at the rate that it will be now. Carta going to get the first kill of the game. Rizar helping out just a little bit there. Yep. Monster behind this truck.
Proc's going to go down to Cole J elsewhere on the map. Proc, somebody that showed up really big on land in DreamHack, but he is going to get himself eliminated there in 62nd on game one. We'll expect him to come back strong in the second game. T-Hump getting shots fired on him from Monster, and he gets a couple connections into him.
Yeah, beautiful shots actually coming out from Monster there. Quite far range as well, about 150 meters off. Going to try to close this space right now with the Jeep. We'll have to see how aggressive. Not going to go all the way up. Still going to keep this as a rifling fight. Rotating just a little bit more. T-Hump going to throw out that smoke. Throwable going to be tossed in there as well. Yeah, you don't know the location. Spook him out of the smoke. Just go ahead and use that grenade, and we are going to see T-Hump do just that. But Monster going to get absolutely lit up here. Pinch coming in just a little bit. It's going to be Chipsy. The kill's going to get picked up by Chipsy as well. And just like that, Ricky going to be able to take down Jeesh.
Yeah, I mean, he played a little aggressive there against T-Hump, got a little kill hungry, chased out of the spot, allowed Chipsy to push up in, while T-Hump tossed a nade out of the smoke and blew up his vehicle, leaving him with nowhere to go and extremely low health off that explosion. So a little too much aggression there on that kill chase.
And now, once again, we are going to the portents of doom. It is going to be this fairground, and you can just see more and more big names hanging out here, and it is just going to be death is going to ensue very soon. You can see Drazzle has joined the fight there, and now the ring is going to be tighter than ever with still 58 players remaining. Grimmy Bear going to put in some shots. Carter going to get down Isco. We saw Isco just a little while ago. Additional shots from Grimmy Bear were able to do most of that work.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen that circle looks like it could possibly pull out of the fairgrounds, which now causes an interesting thing. There's so many corridors and little nooks and crannies you can walk through, is now if it does pull off of it, now we got to watch everybody try and get out of these positions that they thought they were going to be able to just go and sit in for the whole match. So a lot of these guys are going to have to try and rotate out. We do have some gas and smoke nades coming down in this fight between Dropped and Sharima, two legend players, obviously.
Cloak is taken out.
Gonna get taken out by Doug is raw.
Yeah, Cloak is gonna get dropped out right now. And when I actually talked to Cloak before we jumped in, one of the players he was saying he was the most scared of was Drop. We are gonna see Drop lose his body armor there, get some good shots, and Sharima Wizard up in this fight by quite a few shots, able to clean up without a problem. Adrian going to be in that corner of your screen as well in that kill feed, taking down Doug is raw. It is clear at this point in the match that the stage is set. We are either going to have that fairgrounds finish, and we're going to see absolute chaos, or we're going to see an exodus out of there and players just getting picked off as they move out from their homes that they have set up in during this match. We've seen that play out before in different things like city finishes. Jerk Chicken going to take some serious damage here as well. Shots still coming in. He is down about 2 shots in this fight, but just like that, starts to close the space onto Aqua, moving into the smoke right now, trying to find better positioning, does not want to be fighting more than one player here. More shots going to rain out. He can take about 2 more here. He still does have that helmet on. Moving into the fence is actually going to invest a shot here to get a little bit further away from his target, potentially moving inside of this building, taking it to a short range fight. Really smart play there, being slightly down in shot count. Aqua going to be inside of this shower.
Yeah, I mean, Jerk absolutely just turned on Aqua and forced him off of him, but 2 other players did try to get involved and into the fight with him. Jerk got into the backyard, had to get away from the fence, and we are going to see this fight continue, and Aqua with the head tap, gonna drop Jerk Chicken, and we're going to see Jordy, another WGP player, elsewhere on the map, take down Teenage, and we're going to lose Candy Band to Da.
It's starting to happen. We are down to 51, and we are going to be losing more very soon. Smoke gets traded out. Howie desperately trying to stay alive. Aladdin putting out a few shots here, seeing 50 Shades. Moving up closer right now, investing another throwable to close that space. This time it's going to be the gas. We're going to see Jordy go down to the toxic gas here. An explosion going to ring out. Another 2 going down. Aqua sees the blood in the water, gets the shots in, needs about 2 more to finish this one off.
Aqua now going to have to try and get out of this gas. He does have Moment in the gas behind him, though. Going to outrun it. CLG, Grimmy Bear going to take down Carta with a little bit of an assist from Memo. I believe Memo's probably still sitting on top of that same building in the fairgrounds. Aqua coming out, throwing a couple shots. I don't know that he knows that Moment's behind him. Mini extremely low, gets the 1 pump into Mig. Mig going to get dropped. Mini hopping into that Patriotic Jeep, going to start getting healed up. Swaps to the extra seat. That's something that we didn't see yesterday. T-Hump gonna get found in the smoke by Aladdin. Aladdin getting that elimination. Memo gonna find boxes. Kevy gonna get dropped, and Adrian also gonna go down.
Desperate shots coming out in the smoke, going to connect, but we have so many scenarios here where players are actually in the gas and they do not see their surroundings. Crank going to be able to pick up a kill. We are going to see the King rotating around right now, trying to stay away from that gas. Crank in this fight right now, may be able to take down Aladdin, one of our top finishers from DreamHack. Letting out a few shots through this smoke, can't actually see the target. This smoke is just so thick here, but we'll find Aladdin. Able to take him out is Crank. Crank now needs to find some better positioning here out in the wide open. Going to put out the smoke right now to make sure to actually get that loot from the kill. Drazzle invested into this fight with Memo. Has a wall between him. Has the shotgun. Might be able to get this kill, but Drazzle will go down to Memo.
It's always an awkward moment when you're laying in the smoke and the smoke nade fades out and you're stuck there. It's not a good feeling.
It is not a good feeling at all. We can actually start to see some of the players moving off the stage right now. They are not out of it yet, though. If they were taken down, they will have 2 more games to try to get these placement matches. But our top 36 are going to be the players that we are focused on because they are still competing for the most amount of points that they can. Whoever gets the top kills here as well will be pulling down an additional $5,000 for this match. And right now, we can already see, still in the position where we left him, up with the gas as an additional option for cover.
Yeah, absolutely. Cole J here holding off this side with the smoke nade. It looks like there was one person out there to his right side. We saw a ton of players just get eliminated. I mean, we went from about 60 players down to 35 in a heartbeat. Sweet Dreams here getting a couple shots on him. This was our winner from DreamHack Atlanta, and it looks like he may have had a shot come into him from Mini. He keeps checking that car. We were talking about this earlier, guys, looking into the car to try and find it. Loses his helmet from the side. It looks like Howie probably ended up giving Mini a little bit of help there and takes the helmet off, forces Sweet Dreams off the shot. Sweet not able to get that kill, and we are going to lose Symphony elsewhere on the map, but Sweet Dreams is now got his attention turned towards Howie. Shots going into Howie and the vehicle. Howie going to get out of there. Mini does end up finally bleeding out to Sweet, so he still gets the call, still gets the kill and dropped, trying to blow up another car, gets a kill onto Gorani.
We are going to see dropped right now. A lot of the players saying one of the scariest players to play against in this competition. Just wreaking havoc here inside of the smoke. We will see Huskers trying to move about, but dropped is found by quite a few players here. Huskers going to fall down to Flame. Now Drop just staying inside of this car. Going to pop out here. Going to try to take this fight with Lifted inside of the police car as well. A few shots going to connect into the vehicle. Beyond the threshold right now at 37. Another 2 players going to fall down. Only 23 do remain. Getting some shots into the Jeep. It will flip. And now this is going to be enough of a weakness to try to take down Apex Shay. Apex Shay does manage to flip it. Gets out of the car yet again. Has to actually throw down the smoke to move away. Dropped. Going to take quite a bit of damage here. Seeing both Grimmy and now jumping on board. We will go just in time to see that kill picked up.
Harry Frogbat gonna get eliminated by that gas kill. Gonna be given out to Chipsy though. Crumb gonna go down to Bizarre. We are down to 14. And Da gonna get taken down in 14th by Juan Korea. We can see Drop, Apex Shay, everybody else out here out in front of us, and we're gonna lose Lifted to Dropped.
Dropped still hanging on here.
11 left.
Now
This
has
is the
this
bubble.
police car as well. You can see right now in the smoke and this gas, no visibility. Shots still raining out into the darkness. Stormin going to be able to get this kill here. Needs to find one more to find some semblance of safety before this powder keg absolutely explodes. It's going to be Rizar completely healthy, moving around this tent, trying to find Stormin. Now inside of the gas, Stormin can't see out. Shots still going to be fired. Stormin going to invest another throwable here. May connect into Rizar. Rizar right into the flames, but is going to find Stormin and take him down. Rizar now needs to get healthy. You can see that Sweet Dreams is in the wings. We'll be able to see that fire from there. 3 smokes still down. 4 smokes down with players inside. 50 Shades and Blood Inferno in a demolition derby here. Dropped, going to be outside of the car, has a good vantage point to see all of the players here getting those grenades. You know, just use everything you have at this point in the game. Jumping out of the car is going to be Pineapples. Haven't seen much of him yet, and we are going to see that explosion come in. Apex Shay goes down. Pineapples traded out to Chipsy. Only 7 are left here, Supersonic, and now Drop going to get these shots in. 50 Shades tries to steal the car in style, but Dropped is able to eliminate him.
Yeah, Dropped absolutely going off. I believe he is our top kills of the game. Currently, Chipsy getting lit up, though. Both players at 1 shot. Shots coming at Chipsy from another angle. We'll see if Drop decides to take this. He needs to stop and heal. Stepping up, though. He wants it. Chipsy gonna be able to get that shot, though. Dropkick goes down. We are down to 5 players remain. Sweet Dreams was on the assist there, so Sweet still in the game as well. Blood Inferno just driving around, and we're going to see shots come out and Sweet actually gets eliminated right there by Rizar out of the car with the shotgun.
Chipsy now actually has been moved up to 7 kills here, may be able to just pull down this additional 5K. 4 players do remain, all of them inside of the smokes, hanging out in their own corner. Who will be the first to move out here and try to get that top 3 finish? Rizar very healthy, Chipsy behind the car, an absolute slayer with 7 kills. Blood Inferno not able to heal up yet. We can see the shots moving into the cop car. And just like that, a grenade is going to be able to come out from Rizar and blow up that vehicle. Chipsy will go down with 7 kills. Should be able to still take this 5K here. Blood Inferno inside of the gas. We can see both the smoke and the gas are going to be his cloak right now. Bizarre letting these shots rain out into Blood Inferno. Very weak right here. Should be able to take this one, but Blood Inferno moving up close is able to take him down.
He gets the assist from Rizar. Blood Inferno barely left alive here. Rizar in full health. Not sure if he has a vehicle. He could decide to take the option to go ahead and press it. Grenades coming out from Rizar is going to blow up the vehicle. Blood Inferno has to heal. Rizar going to step up, and he is going to take down Game 1 of the Legends Invitational.
Clean finish coming in from Rizar. Take a look at your champion. That is going to be absolutely huge moving forward throughout the day. A monumentous amount of points have been gained, but congratulations to Chipsy for pulling in those 7 kills as well. He's going to be able to get that 5K and also having a pretty decent placement here when we move out throughout the day. So this is only going to be our first game. We are going to see 3, and it is going to be a cumulative point system. Let's actually take a look at the results and see where all the players do stand right now. Supersonic, what a great way to kick this off. I'm excited to see the results.
I mean, I don't know that they like the ending that it went to, but that was absolutely a blast to watch, and we are going to see Rizar take down that first place. Blood Inferno coming in second, Bizarre in third. Ton of guys in here. We see Sweet Dreams, Dropped, and Stormin all showing up, making it into the top 10 off of Rogue. We've got names like Pineapple, Apex Shay, and Chipsy all in this as well. Yeah, Chipsy, 7 kills. I'm almost, there's no way that anybody else got more than 7 kills. I'm pretty sure he got the 5K.
Chipsy was able to take this one. Chipsy does get the 5K here, but the other player to really keep an eye on is going to be Dropped as well, because Dropped is able to pick up 6 kills here. A lot of players just saying Dropped is going to be an insane player, already proving that Dropped is a slayer. So both our 4th and 6th place here, picking up a monumentous amount of kills. Excited to see what these players can do, but I'm so excited to hear a few words from Rizar. Rizar on the floor right now with Kelly.
Rizar, congratulations on your first win, man. What did you do to prepare for this?
Get drunk.
All right, good answer, man. The audience seems to like it. All right, going into games 2 and 3, what is your strategy? Do you feel like you're going to change anything up or just do the same?
No, I'm just going to try hold a position, maybe in the center, and just hopefully get lucky again.
Is there someone here that surprised you in that last match? Someone that you might need to like look out for in game 2?
Well, Sweet Dream said he was going to kill me, but I killed him.
Are you going to kill him again?
I'll do it again.
All right, man. Well, Lazar, it seems like you're ready to get going into game number 2. Good luck and congratulations, and everyone, do not go anywhere. We're going to head back to our casters right now for game number 2.
And Rizar ready to rumble here. Also ready to party, but not quite there yet. We still do have 2 more games. We'll have to see what Rizar can do as we actually do jump in. But now that we have seen those results coming in from that first game, Supersonic, you're a resident expert. What do you expect to see when we actually jump in for game number 2?
I mean, I never know what to expect until we start to get to see those safe zones. There's definitely some guys that got eliminated early, though, that are going to want to show up and make it maybe a little bit further. Maybe some guys that took some more aggressive fights that they really didn't need to. I mean, we saw, I forget who it was that took that fight with T-Hump, though, pressed in, got a little aggressive, gave up his spot. Some of those plays, we might see some of those guys start to try and pull it back a little bit, but then there's other guys that maybe need to turn it up a notch. Maybe they felt that they didn't play aggressive enough and they gave away their position. So it's going to change up a little bit, but it really everything's always decided by that final safe zone. Where is that second, third circle before it starts centering? That really determines how these guys are going to play out these matches.
Yeah, we should definitely talk about that safe zone as well. That was a very particular finish to see, not one that we see very often onto the map. How much did that safe zone actually impact what we saw? I mean, we just saw one of the craziest finishes that I think we've seen throughout the entire weekend. I mean, we're doing 3 tournaments here. We have seen quite a few games from Twitchcon, and this one in particular was an epic finish.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. That safe zone is a very aggressive one. There's so many spots for people to hide in. There's just so many different little nooks and crannies. It definitely slows the gameplay down a little bit in that mid, and then we saw it at the end. We were talking about it. That end game is going to be absolutely explosive. It plays out a little bit different than we see in All-Stars and in the Challenger Series. These guys know exactly where the spots are, what are the angles, how do I position myself, what's the best spot that somebody else would take. Okay, well, somebody's going to take that rooftop, and somebody's going to take this side. So this building here I can kind of hide. So you see everybody literally positioning themselves in spots that there's no real angles to shoot at, so it causes the powder keg. The powder keg is much larger in Legends than it is in All-Stars, and it's super explosive endings. We went from 60 players down to 35 in maybe a minute.
Yeah, before we actually do get into game number 2, let's take a look at just that and see some of the key moments that actually did play out in this first game. Jumping right in, oh, I remember this one. This is where Doug Israel actually challenges Flamehopper. Flamehopper's police car does flip over. Doug Israel is able to put those shots in and take out Flamehopper very easily. Now jumping back on, I believe this is where Chipsy got the kills going.
Yeah, this is right here where Chipsy got that kill going. That's what we were talking about, where Monster gave up his position to chase down that kill, and Riki gonna get eliminated there by Crank. Dropkid, who is making great use of these ridges here, gets himself quite a few kills here. This is that first one onto Gorani, or his second kill of the game, sorry, and then he turns around to try and take the fight to Zeeth.
This is where Drop really came alive as well, picking up about 3 kills here. Drop, if you do remember, came in 2nd place, getting 6 kills. 2nd place in kills, sorry, not 2nd place in finish, but 2nd place in kills, which is a big deal, though, in the standings as well. Jumping on now, we actually see Stormin picking up a kill of his own, and I believe we're going to be jumping back on board with Chipsy, and this is actually where Chipsy does manage to take out Drop.
Yeah, he ends up taking out Drop, but he's out in the open. He's just so low on health.
But the big thing is Chipsy actually taking out Dropped here.
Yeah, it's
huge because if he doesn't do that, you know, Drop probably stays up a little bit longer. Even if they both take an additional fight, all of a sudden you're in a scenario where maybe we see a different player taking down $5,000.
Absolutely. I'm not sure which one of them got the first kill of the game. Had he tied it, maybe he goes down and they switch positions, so he gets that extra kill.
Exactly.
Now they tie. Now it goes down to who got the kill earlier in the match. So that could have shooken things up quite a bit there.
Yeah, important thing to note, if it does go to a tiebreaker for the kills, the way that we determine who gets the $5 grand, who actually gets that bounty for the match, is whoever got the first kill of the game out of the 2 players that are locked inside of that tie. So very important thing to mention. If we saw both of them get 6, if we saw both of them get 7, that's how that would have played out. But ultimately, when Chipsy does take out drop, he makes it so a tiebreaker does not need to be had, and just dropping drop down to 6.
Taking down the only other person that can take you out for that $5,000 is a good way to take the $5,000 home. I mean, that's kind of the statement point. It's like, no, this is mine. You cannot have this.
You. Yeah, I outslayed you straight up.
I literally slayed you.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Good way to do it. So I mean, we had a ton of players that showed up there, though. We saw Stormin outplay there right on that tent. That was a great play. We saw a lot of guys get into tight situations, and you see these guys are very comfortable, though, even when under extreme pressure, and that's something that we didn't see previously in this tournament. These guys are comfortable even at low health. We saw Jerk get lit up by Aqua at the one point and turn that fight, too. So I'm really liking watching this, just how comfortable these guys are under pressure.
Yeah, and as our 75 players do actually take their seats so we can jump into game number 2, just want to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors, because those incredible plays would not be possible without our sponsors. So major thanks to Asus, Republic of Gamers, Corsair, Astro, and MetaThreads. And also, got to thank Vertigear. These chairs are quite comfortable.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's definitely a nice chair. It's keeping me comfortable. It's been my home for the past couple days, and I'm still able to get up and walk around. So
you cast 8 games in a row, the seats start to matter. So definitely enjoying this chair quite a bit.
Yeah, chair's definitely comfortable.
Cast it from some folding chairs before, man.
Folding. I've done the folding chair.
Everyone has, but this arena is definitely very different from an arena that you would see folding chairs in. Been absolutely incredible to be here at TwitchCon for all 3 of the tournaments that we have had so far. Right now, you are joining us for the Legends. This has been absolutely insane, seeing the top level of play, a huge prize pool on the line. First place going to be taking down 80 grand. After this, we will actually have the conclusion to our challengers as well. The way that shook out on the first day of TwitchCon, everyone could line up. We did 7 games of 75 players that signed up first come, first serve at TwitchCon. We took the best players from that, and they are going to face off for $50,000 today around 3 p.m.
Absolutely, and we did have a chance to talk to Aladdin previously, and we're going to go ahead and jump over to that video and see what he had to say.
My biggest competition is definitely Sweet Dreams. We battled it out a little bit in DreamHack Atlanta. He ended up taking first place. I took third, it was nice. I got some money. Who could I slay in a 1v1 every time? Everyone but Sweet Dreams. The person I would be most upset to die to in the Invitational would definitely be Ricky. We have a little bit of a feud going on. How do I feel to be competing in the H1Z1 Invitational? It's incredible. I watched last year's and I never expected I'd be here to say. Choking, I'm nervous. All these people looking at me. I can't even see their faces. Hi, my name's Aladdin, and I'm gonna win the H1Z1 Invitational.
Ooh, Aladdin's waving to us right now. You already had your moment of fame. We just showed a video. You're fine. You're fine. One of the things I love about Aladdin is his energy. I actually got a chance to meet him at DreamHack, come up on the stage, do a little bit of an interview with him, and get to know the guy, and just so much energy.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I was in the room while he got to have his interview, and sits there and looks, and they go, you want to do something? He goes, can I do a backflip? What?
Yeah,
just
sure,
energy all the time, 24/7, 100% high octane. He's absolute monster.
It comes out in the game as well,
and
too. Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing. You can definitely start to see some of the personalities come out inside of the game with how they approach different situations. Are they going to be more defensive? Are they going to be more offensive? I think Aladdin definitely does shine through. Aladdin looked really great in this last game, but I think one of the biggest things to note with Aladdin is definitely his last performance at DreamHack. That's the best look into how we think he will do in the day, looking incredible at DreamHack.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He showed up big there at DreamHack and showed up strong, and that was similar to this format where you're playing through multiple games. So he's one of those guys that's already played it, and he is getting very comfortable. He's used to this system, and we see Aladdin right here for anybody that doesn't know who the man is. Awesome guy.
Yeah, learn his face, because we will be seeing plenty of him today. We'll have to see if he can replicate that performance that he did have in DreamHack, getting that top 3 finish. Are there any other players right now that maybe you didn't see as much out of coming in from this first game that you think could really show up here in game number 2?
I mean, Symphony out of this group, if I remember looking at the statistics correctly, he has the most wins this season out of anybody, and it's at 74 wins so far. So, I mean, seeing Symphony, he's somebody that knows how to close out in games. Symphony might be a guy that we should keep an eye on to show up in this game.
Definitely. The main thing I'm going to be paying attention to, because it is just the most fun, is going to be who gets these top kills. Chipsy obviously able to get it last time with 7 kills on the board. Yesterday we saw kills going up to as high as 9 for players. We saw that coming out from some of our All-Stars.
Yep.
We saw that coming out in Challengers as well. 9 seems to be the threshold of the weekend. We obviously see a more defensive playstyle coming out from our top players at the beginning of the game. That scavenging phase lasting a little bit longer. But man, would it be phenomenal if we actually saw one of these guys drop a 10.
Oh, absolutely. I want to see the 10 happen on land. We haven't seen it ever go to double digits. I just want to see the double digit up there. So, and if there's somebody out here that can do it, it's definitely this group of players here.
Yeah, who in particular do you think is just that slayer that could get something like a 10?
I mean, there's definitely guys. So one of the other stats that they gave us at one point was that for royalty for all 6 preseasons, so guys that got up and got high royalty placements consistently every single season, players like 10K, T-Hump, Riki, a bunch of these guys are used to doing that, and those are definitely high kill matches. You have to do that consistently. You have to drop tons of high games. So players like T-Hump. T-Hump's been in a top 10 situation multiple seasons in a row. So he's somebody that could definitely show up and do a high slay-out game.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what T-Hump can do. We saw a decent amount of T-Hump coming in that first game. Were there any standout moments for you with T-Hump in this series, in this first game?
Yeah, that first game he was playing out of the smoke. He was in an open position with a player playing very aggressive onto him, and he was able to throw down the smoke nade, play out of it. He ended up getting a little bit of an assist there from Chipsy, but Chipsy wouldn't have been able to get that kill had he not hit the shots, blown up the car, and put him to the other player into this position that he had to back off. So under extreme stress, he was able to play smart and able to back that player off.
Yeah, exactly. But we've talked a lot about some of the established players, and obviously with this Invitational, you really are going to know a lot of the names. But one of the things that we saw at DreamHack in particular was some of the newer players just absolutely coming into their own. I mean, Teeksie's the one that jumps out to me, having that absolutely incredible finish. Maybe one of the players that hasn't had one of those top finishes could come out here today and really show up.
Yeah, I mean, we could absolutely see a guy come out from maybe one of the guys out of one of the other regions that we haven't seen either, like Cole J, or one of the guys that made a huge trip up from Australia or out of Korea. It'd be really interesting to see one of those guys kind of show up and do it on the big stage.
Yeah, so we're going to be getting into the match here in just a little bit, but I am really excited to see what some of these players from the other regions can do. Like, you don't get to see them very often. Now, you do a lot of stuff with the community, so you get to see a lot of the players from our region quite a bit. How often do you actually get to see players from other regions jump in and do those community tournaments?
So recently with the CDS server, we see a lot of guys come in from the EU. Based upon ping, certain regions can connect to others, so sometimes there's some guys that can't make it over, but I have been making it in to watch late nights because I'm apparently don't know how to get a sleeping schedule. I've been up and watching the Outback Arena matches, so I got to see guys like Cole J, 50 Shades, and some of these guys play down there, Jordy. Really awesome to watch that community and just how far that one's come. So I'm really excited to see some of those guys here making a huge trip across the world to be here.
Do you see any differences in play style, though? I know when we actually did get to DreamHack, a lot of the players that we did see from some of the other regions were way more aggressive.
I don't believe, once you get to this level of play, I think it kind of levels out a little bit.
You have to adjust to the meta.
Yeah, you absolutely do, and a lot of these guys all watch each other, they play with each other. Even if we're in separate regions, these guys are still hanging out on each other's streams. They're seeing the strategies, they're seeing what's going on. Some of the different regions play out differently in public games. Once you get into the actual comp scene and start playing on the servers, it's typically very similar play styles. There's definitely guys that maybe are a little bit more aggressive in team play. I think in team play you see a little bit more in solos. It's pretty straightforward on what you're trying to accomplish. There's teams that are more aggressive than others as a whole, but solo play, I think that a lot of them have similar ideas.
Yeah, team and solo going to have very different metas. We could also see that when we actually did take a peek yesterday at our exhibition match. But one of the big announcements at Twitchcon as well that we got to talk about a little bit yesterday, of course, was the Pro League. We haven't talked much about the Pro League yet today. Very excited for this. And all of these players, we're kind of just getting that preview right now. We're getting to see them play for a huge amount of prize money here, but they are also going to potentially be fighting to get a position in the Pro League eventually. So if you haven't actually gotten to hear anything about the Pro League, we're going to give you a quick look at what you can expect.
This is it. This is where the grind begins. Get used to this room, 10, 16 hours a day, lots riding on it. Yep.
You guys ready?
Uh-oh, we got company.
You slow team left. Oh, spread out, kill. Where is my help? Why are you wondering us again? Where is my help?
Game 1. How does it feel, man? Amazing.
The difference between success and failure is going to be how well you operate as a team.
Let's go, boys. Definitely excited for when we are going to get to see that play out, and already you could see some of the faces that we have here right now, like Aladdin, already getting ready for that Pro League.
I mean, absolutely, the Pro League announcement, probably the biggest one of the weekend, right alongside with Z1 Remastered. I mean, the Pro League is an awesome start, and this here, the stage for the Pro League. I mean, all this stuff that's going on this weekend is absolutely insane, and these guys are all the ones that are going to be competing to be in that tournament.
Exactly, but first, we have the order of a huge amount of prize money to deal out. One of the biggest prize pools that I have seen so far. First place going to be able to take $80,000 each game. Whoever gets the highest kills also going to be grabbing $5K. So that's a pretty decent pit stop on your way to the Pro League.
I mean, I think last year, what was it? I think it was 40K for first place each time. I mean, it's 80K for first this time around. I mean, that's a big prize pool. That's a lot of money.
I mean, 40K in and of itself, kind of a life-changing amount. So when you give that to somebody twice, they can definitely change things.
Yeah, I mean that's a complete status change in your lifetime. I mean that can do a lot. So it's gonna be awesome to see what that guy does with it. I'm waiting to hear the interview of what are you gonna do with the money. And just something that's just completely nothing any of us would have thought about. I'm sure we're going to get some sort of crazy response.
I mean, that's like one of those things that I feel like you can't even really think about, and you definitely don't come to the tournament. I feel like if you come to the tournament already thinking about that, you're not going to play your best, right? That's just a huge amount of stress that you're putting on yourself, because you start thinking about all the things that you could potentially do with the money, and then you're actually in the game. You can't be thinking about that. You need to be thinking about your shots. You need to be thinking about your surroundings. So I hope the players aren't jumping their guns there. I mean, when we had that interview with Rizar, one of the first things he's already talking about celebrating. You need to slow down after that win, because you have to play 3 games. I think that he could do very well here, though.
I like seeing the confidence, though. Sometimes seeing that, that's just that guy's personality. So sometimes
Exactly.
it comes through, and that's what they need. Sometimes that's how they hype themselves up. Everybody's got their own types of rituals. We talked about it yesterday. Some guys just like playing barefoot. Some guys like to feel like they're comfortable in their home environment. So me personally, I always like seeing that in an esports guy, is seeing that confidence and those hilarious, witty responses.
Yeah. That's the other thing, too, is you can't change because you're playing up on the stage, right? Like different things, like you bring up that. I'm looking around right now to actually see if any of the players are doing the shoes off thing. It's a pretty common thing that we actually do see when you get into the arena. You can't change the way you play. You want to be keeping it as close to your practice, as close to the amount of hours that you have already put into H1Z1. When you sit down here, you can see a lot of the players moving back and forth their mouths, trying to figure out if they have enough room, if their DPI is right, if their sense is right. So you want to get all the settings as close as you can to actually playing at home. You don't want to change things up when you're on the main stage.
That's always the funny one to me. I do it a lot too, so I feel for these guys, but I think I see it in almost like every game. Any PC player has this like weird like whip his mouse around, just kind of check his sensitivity, and just kind of like, it's almost like a nervous habit that you have to do. If you don't do it, you're just not comfortable. You're not gonna play well. It has to happen before you go into the match.
Yeah, I mean, it happens in pretty much every esport, right? You see those different twitches that players have, and then it becomes a ritual. But I feel like there is a certain amount of feedback that you actually do get, right? Like there is something to it, whether it's that flick and actually seeing, okay, yeah, my sense is right. You can tell if something's wrong.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you watch some of these guys, if you watch some of their streams and stuff, while they're sitting in the box, they're actually just looking for something, and they're just whipping the mouse around, just trying to find that angle, making sure that their whip is on, they can get on target.
They want to be able to snap.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really important thing, and we're going to be seeing just that right now. We are about to drop into our second game here. We already have the results from the first game in. Let's see what these players can do for the second one. All of these scores are going to be cumulative. Second game out of 3, taking a look at the map right now. What are you thinking with this? Where do you think the first safe zone is going to be?
It looked like a little bit of widespread. I didn't see too many people in the southeast corner, so I'm gonna call, instead of calling where it's going, I'm gonna call where it's not going. It's not going southeast, and then it's probably gonna go there just to make me look like I don't know what I'm talking about.
All right, so it's going southeast. Now we are going to be jumping on right now. We are in that looting phase. As you already did see in the first game, 2 players very close here. Maybe even going in for the fight is going to be Keviel and Candyvan. Candyvan taking a few shots here, able to jump onto the ATV. Not going to have any additional cover from that vehicle, but it doesn't look like he had a weapon to be in this fight either. Going to use that ATV to try to put some distance in between him and the other player here.
Yeah, that's a rough start. You get a 2-hit, you're feeling great, and then somebody else is landing right next to you, and you end up getting it ripped apart. Razar here, having to leave a little bit of ammo there behind. He has found a 2-hit so far, which is a great feeling, but hasn't found a backpack. You absolutely need one of those to have enough resources to make it through. You can't carry any extra helmets. Not having an extra helmet in this, with this level of play, will get you murdered.
Right now, T-Hump just being fully set here with a helmet and also getting this early police car. Going to be moving around right now. Already seeing a decent amount of ammo as well. Just getting some rifles into that inventory. Moving into the building here, making sure no one is inside. But still, this fight is going to be going on, and ultimately, Candyvan is going to go down. Tried to get away on that ATV when we first jumped into that fight, and ultimately was not able to find that space or a weapon to compete. And that is going to be our first blood.
Yeah, Kevy, knowing that he was ahead, knowing that the other player probably didn't have enough time to get a ton of loot, he did already take some shots. He may not have had a med kit. He may not have been able to get to 100%. Kevy deciding to play aggressive and chase that kill down. And now we've got JP looking fairly looted. He's already gotten enough to start scrapping and making makeshifts, and he is going to go ahead and hop onto that ATV and get out of there as Calsey tries to throw a couple shots at his back, but not able to connect.
Much faster paced game right now just due to the break, so we're going to see those early kills, but expect it to slow down just a little bit here, and now we are going to see that safe zone.
That safe zone is going to be directly south, not quite off the map though, so we are going to have all of Cranberry and all of PV on there to start. It will most likely start cutting one or the other out on the next circle, and then we'll be able to see where it starts to center on.
Exactly, and these players are going to have to start rotating. You can see Cloak all the way up by Misty Peak Reservoir right now.
A lot of loot up there.
Yeah, so that's a huge thing for Cloak. I mean, he can kind of get that loot right now, and he's one of those players that knows exactly how much time it's going to take him to traverse back down to civilization here and get into the fight. And I feel like he's also one of those players that can thrive from potentially riding the gas, crashing in, picking off some easy kills with his sharpshooting.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean, there's enough vehicles up there. He knows that there's 3 to 4 vehicle spawns in the area, ATVs, cop cars, and then there's a ton between him as he goes to head southwest. There's just a ton of them out there at the farms at different spots. So most likely, seeing how there was nobody else up there, he will get himself a vehicle. He'll be in a good spot. He'll be able to stop off at one of the gas stations possibly as well and try and grab some gas cans.
One of the things that we haven't really noted today, we have done 3 tournaments, and we have seen this play out in all of them. Huge changes coming in with vehicles, not necessarily going to be spawning with that fuel, with those gas tanks. So you actually need to go out and loot those gas tanks, Supersonic.
Yeah, you need to actually find them. So you're going to have to grab them either out of the airdrops, or you'll have to grab them at the gas stations. Those are your only 2 locations you're going to be able to get those gas cans now. They are no longer in the vehicles, though the vehicles do spawn with 100% gas in them. So it's almost like they had the gas can in them to begin with. But it's just already been used on that vehicle. Where typically you would hold on to it, because if your car starts getting beat up, you'd want to transfer and use that gas can for the next car. So taking the gas out does make more of the cars not make it to the end game, but
that's the big thing that it really does affect, is going to be that end game. And also some of those POIs are going to go up in value just a little bit if they can spawn that gas tank. Right now, Pineapples does have a vehicle of his very own, though. He is inside of that Jeep.
Yep, he's going to have that patriotic Jeep skin, the Murica skin. Got Nightwalker out there in the background driving around as well. Looks like he's got a pickup truck of his own there. And these guys are just going to kind of disengage from each other. They have no intention of wanting to take a fight. They have no beef with each other yet. Rogue here and Moman hanging out in Cranberry over on the west side of it. Not quite sure how looted they are, but looks like he's got at least an armor, a helmet, a shotgun, and a lot of AR ammo. So Rogue actually looking pretty kitted right now.
They also have a lot of space here in this early portion of the game to really get even more loot. But yeah, being kitted this early definitely going to be great, because you can start to look for some of those fights to actually take take away some resources from your opponent, continue to get that loot, and then all of a sudden you find yourself at a huge advantage when it does get to the late game. Still trying to figure out here as the gas does advance, though, where these players will be settling down. Going to take it relatively slow here. Gabe Isman is going to be the player that we take a look at right now, trying to figure out his situation with his inventory.
Yeah, Gabe looking pretty well as all. Also, though, 270 rounds, 300 total, counting the 30 in his clip. Has the AR, has the AK. He's got everything he needs to try and make it to that later game. And he has an armor on already as well. Symphony also kitted up. You can see all these guys have already gone and gotten their makeshifts made. We saw a ton of guys without helmets. We saw guys yesterday without ever having an armor or a makeshift. These guys, almost every time we cut to one of these player cards on that new versus screen down at the bottom that the players are seeing, or the viewers are seeing at home, almost always has the armor on.
Yeah, it's been a huge factor here as well. And we can actually see how quickly they actually, like if a helmet gets popped, it's instantly going back on. We see additional makeshifts. Some players even opting to have a 2-hit on the ground, trying to protect that. Now shots going to rain out from Teenage. We actually did see Teenage in the first game taking some early fights as well, dealing some serious damage.
Yeah,
and
he
this
got one of the early kills last game.
Like very early, like first 3 kills. Teenage now still being in that aggressive position here early on in this game. Going to move that cop car into a little bit of cover there in between that tree and that ridge. A good move. You don't want too many shots coming into your cop car. You don't want anyone to steal it either. We've actually seen a little bit of back and forth right now with players actually just trying to steal each other's vehicles.
It's worked for some, and then some other ones have tried to go for it, and the other players just pump them in the forehead with a shotgun. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but when you're in that close range, you just got to decide to make a play and commit.
A lot of the decision-making, too, has actually been inside of these fights. If you really want to be sinking shots into the vehicle, or if you want to try to get the kill and then take the vehicle as your very own. A lot of the times, though, when you do get in a fight like that, the other player going to be attempting to use the vehicle as cover usually gets below that threshold, going to be losing some of its handling, falling below 30, you know, or it could actually get all the way to the point that it is actually on fire, and you're going to need to get rid of that vehicle anyway. So a lot of times, you really just need to play the body more than you need to play the vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see Flame Hopper, he was out there driving around a second ago in a pickup. Pickups flip a little easier than cop cars. Hopefully he has a little bit better run of luck with that car than he did with the cop car in the previous match. Sweet Dreams here. We can see him going ahead and picking up AK. You're seeing a lot of guys actually carrying AK. T-Hump there looks like he's actually injured a little bit. He may have been in a fight with Sweet, but you can see that he's already healing up, and he does have a new armor on.
Yeah, Sweet Dreams, once again, this was one of our champions recently, so Sweet Dreams definitely going to be a player to keep an eye on.
Yeah, we didn't see a lot of AK play on the previous patch at DreamHack, and we're seeing it a lot more, especially here with these guys. A lot of them are carrying the AK, especially trying to eat up vehicles with it.
Yeah, before you really saw a lot of that Magnum play into vehicles. Now, we haven't seen much of the Magnum recently, though. I think we saw one Magnum actually trying to do some ripping through a police car in game number 1.
We saw Mountain FPS swap an AK out for a Magnum to eat up one of the vehicles last game in the fairgrounds. Definitely an interesting use. You don't see people using the Magnum quite as often anymore. It used to be the only thing to use to take out vehicles. Everybody carried a Magnum. It was the vehicle slayer, and these two guys are going to collide. Calsey gonna go ahead and make the call to hop out and take some shots at Isco. Not able to get any connections, though.
Not able to at all, and now Calsey going to be in full retreat. We can see, as we actually do take a look right now, Aqua moving throughout the camp, Gabe Isman moving throughout that building, just still trying to collect as much as they can. How long do you think that looting phase does typically last when we actually do watch our pro players go up against each other?
Looting phase is going to be anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes, most likely. Then we're going to transfer to mid-game. Guys are going to start trying to make their way. Guys that started early in the safe zone, most likely not going to move too far. They might try, especially with this safe zone, start moving towards the south side of PV, north side of Cranberry. You can kind of see them bunching up there on the north side of Cranberry so that when the next circle's announced, they have less distance to travel. However, when a lot of guys know that's the way to play, you end up with some people that end up in engagements that they weren't expecting or didn't want because they just end up on top of each other.
Carta letting some shots go down for Prodigy Aces. Not going to find much here at very far range, and this is one of those things that you actually do see out of players as well, aggressively defending their location. If they're in a good spot, you let a few shots out, you let everyone know, hey, I'm here. I'm not necessarily trying to take the fight right now, but if you get anywhere near me, I will do just that and take it. Now we do have Blood Inferno and Teenage, both very, very uncomfortably aware of each other's location. Teenage, though, going to let some long-distance shots out, just like that Blood Inferno going to spot 50 Shades, trying to put in some shots there, but now connecting with Teenage.
Yeah, I mean, as you were saying, guys aggressively defend, and it's something we were talking about that went really well for players yesterday. The few guys that were aggressively defending their positions ended up making it a little bit farther into the matches. Being completely stagnant and just sitting in one position without doing anything typically doesn't do well. Once the circle closes in on you, you have to be ready to try and defend and hold people off.
Yeah, well, one of the other things, though, that we did see is some of those players who were aggressively defending, as they actually did leave their positioning, that was kind of when they did go down as well. One of those that I'm thinking of is Flamehopper. Flamehopper getting taken out relatively early in that first game, a lot of it coming down to the car actually flipping, but we're going to jump in right now with Rogue Sweet Dreams, getting out a couple of shots here and leaving the ATV behind for just a second. Has actually 2 ATVs at disposal.
Not a
Doesn't
normally
really need
used
to
place, but it's actually a pretty interesting one. He does have quite a few solid objects. He has a bush that he can use to hide in if he needs to, things that he can wrap around. He has a little bit of movement. He has a ridge line there right above him. So not a bad little spot to be able to hold, and a lot of people aren't going to try and come towards him. It's open field on all sides of him, so he's going to be able to see anybody coming towards him and make a quick escape on the ATV if he needs to.
Exactly. Taking a look right now, T-Hump going to be using this ridge to his full advantage. Has that cop car a little bit down. Not going to try to move that too far up here. With this safe zone that we've started to see now, we've gotten quite a decent look at it. We can see the gas is about to advance again in another minute and 20 seconds here. What do you expect the finish to look like? Last time we had that pretty hectic finish. Do you expect this to play out in a similar fashion?
Not quite as hectic as it did in the previous. It's going to be a little bit more evenly paced. We're going to probably see it pull into either the south side of PV or just barely the north edge of Cranberry still, and it'll have some open field and some trees, or the option is that we pull fully into Spence Hills if it does go ahead and just continue to edge to the east side. And then we're going to see a lot of tree battles. So there's quite a bit of open field and then sporadic tree placement. So we'll see some guys throw down in trees. We'll see a couple open fields. We're going to see some cars explode for sure. That's probably what we're looking at for the end of this match.
The one thing that we can definitely see at this point is the loadout that a lot of these players are opting into. And the standard loadout has definitely changed recently, and definitely from DreamHack. A lot of players actually starting to have in their loadout have that throwable in that third slot, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys used to run the shotgun, AR, AK. Some of the guys still decide to go ahead and carry that and go shotgun, AR, throwable, but we are starting to see guys get rid of that third weapon and just go ahead and have the throwable ready to go all the time. It's a lot easier than having to go in, right-click, drop the weapon, swap the grenade into spot, and then once you run out of nades, you can easily open your inventory, double-click what the new nade is, whether you want to go to gas nade, smoke nade, whatever it is, and it will just replace it.
Yeah, the other thing with the throwables now, too, is with this change, they're much easier to get out, so the speed that you can get them out if they are in your third slot is very noticeable. Some throwables coming out right now. We're going to see that in this fight. Jordy down in this fight, slightly catching up, and just like that, going to be able to take down Charles.
And that's what we were talking about. We were talking about guys that prefer shotgun versus AK or SMG in that slot. Jordy being the AK player, and the other guy, the other player coming in with a shotgun, able to do quicker peeks with that AK and just kind of start pre-firing as you come out so that your gun's already ramped up and able to get that peek on that left side to get the finish.
Exactly, and now the gas is advancing here. And with having those grenades, I do want to note the other change that does happen as well with the throwables in general is just the weight that has actually increased with them. So that's going to change the inventory and the way that looks for these players quite a bit.
I mean, absolutely. The grenades used to weigh 10. They're now up to 100 units of weight. So when the change came and you could start throwing grenades faster, we caught on really quick that guys were sacrificing their ammo to carry like 30 nades and just nade spamming, and they made that change to go ahead and adjust for that. So now we see smoke nades. Everything costs a little bit more. So when you throw one out, it costs a lot more than it previously did. You're giving up a lot more. You can't carry quite as many.
Riki right near this drop. We'll have to see if Riki is going to be the one to contest this. There are quite a few power items that you can actually get from going for a play like this. One of them going to be that hunting rifle. You can also get 2 hits, and if you are prioritizing your vehicle very highly, sometimes you will find that gas tank inside which can be absolutely huge. We are going to see Riki, though, moving straight past it. This location is relatively dangerous to go for. Maybe
Really
we see,
open.
yeah, it's very open. I feel like the only option you do really have is if you're going to throw a few smokes in, try to hide out in those smokes, snatch up those items before it dissipates, and hopefully get out in something like a vehicle.
It's still so open, though, that and we saw Howie is up the mountain from him there. He would have line of sight down. He knows exactly where the smoke is. So you start aiming around that area and start putting shots a little bit left, a little bit right. And that hunting rifle is in there for med kits. Some of these guys may not have med kits or a waist pack yet. That's a big pickup there. That's a lot of healing. There's a lot of scrappy materials in there for the tan backpacks to make makeshifts. That is a really, really nice crate.
Yeah, that's one of the nicest crates I think that we have seen so far. So if a player can actually deal with how open this is, move over there, make a play, and try, like, look at this. There's just nothing. I mean, after you actually do get the loot, maybe you can move over to the trees and try to hide out there, but you can see the players aren't really trying to move towards it. It does seem like somewhat of a death wish. Jumping on shortly here with Huskers, can see up on the roof. We haven't seen too much roof play yet today in Legends. If you're just tuning in, this is our Legends tournament. This is all of the top players have been invited, 75 of them, to battle it out. 3 games, whoever comes in first place, taking home a massive prize pool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, $80,000 first place prize, so all these guys are definitely gunning for that $5,000 prize for a guy that gets the top kills in each match, who we saw Chipsy take down that in the last game while taking down 3rd or 4th place as well. So setting himself up to try and go for the 80,000 while taking down $5 grand already today.
Chipsy's in such a decent spot. I mean, first player right now to guarantee money, right? Already has guaranteed that $5,000. Howie right now relatively close to that explosion. That comes in, but we are going to see it is Harry Frogbat and Stormin in a fight right here. Using this police car as cover is going to be Harry Frogbat. Looking to get some shots in. Stormin in a very good position, though, for this fight.
Yeah, both these guys have a similar type of cover, both of them using semis right now. Frogbat having to get out of that vehicle. It looks like Stormin has done quite a bit of damage to it. Both of them already with new makeshifts on. We keep talking about it, but they already have armors on again. These guys get recovered very, very quickly. They're very calm. They know exactly what to do in each situation. He does have a Jeep there, though, for Stormin that it looks to be in very, very good health, so he does have an option to get out of there if he needs to. He could drive it straight into the back. And here comes Harry Frogbat. He's going to go ahead and hop out. He's using that car to try and bait Stormin into taking a fight with him.
We are going to see Harry Frogbat. Even with all the baits that are going on, it looks like retreating is going to be the best scenario. Shots now coming into that vehicle. It is in that threshold area right now at 35. Pretty soon we're going to see a lot of handling be diminished, and Stormin going to follow up, trying to make sure that that car is in terrible condition here, trying to get it to degrade. It is about to catch on fire.
Yeah, his Jeep's not looking too good either. Harry Frogbat on his way out dropped a nade onto that Jeep, so Stormin's car now beat up quite a bit. So war of attrition, as we were talking about, Harry Frogbat's not going to leave with nothing for it. He's at least going to go ahead and take something away from Stormin.
I mean, they've both done a huge amount of damage to each other in that fight. I mean, you obviously, if you are new to watching H1Z1, you see their health bars being at full, but the amount of resources that were just exchanged in that fight was absolutely astronomical. So now when they do get in fights with other players, it is going to be crazy, and those fights are going to be happening really soon. We can see that the gas is advancing right now. When we actually do take a look at that safe zone, we have a lot of heads in not a lot of space. Real estate going to be absolutely prime. Isco inside of this Jeep, going to take a few shots here. Jeep not looking too healthy, and jumping on board with Teenage in a dire situation, going to throw out as many throwables as possible. Needs to play for life here.
Yeah, he needs to get those smoke nades down. He gets 2 out on each side. Gonna go ahead, lay down here, get some healing off. It looks like he was in an exchange with 50 Shades, and Aladdin may have jumped in to get on him as well. Adrian has gotten Kyreg's vehicle down to on fire point, so it's under 20%. Now under 10 as you see the fire catch on those back wheels. That thing is going to eat itself alive and explode here very shortly. So Kyreg going to be stuck on foot here. Loses his armor immediately. New armor on for Kyreg. So really quick swap. These guys react to these things very quickly, and Isco is going to go down to a grenade from Grimmy Bear. Elsewhere on the map as we are on board with Illusion, trying to get a final shot into Viva La Bag. Grenade into the smoke. We'll see if it's able to connect. Out comes another nade.
With the changes that we have actually seen to smokes, it is just a much thicker smoke. You cannot get any information out of there. You can't see in or out. And we've just seen so many grenades get traded into those smokes.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where the meta's changed a little bit with the smoke nades. We saw the smokes at DreamHack. You can still kind of see a little bit every now and then because it kind of billowed out here and there, so there was dead pockets where you could see somebody moving. You cannot see people inside of smoke nades anymore. You can't see yourself inside of a smoke nade anymore. It's very disorienting. So these guys are going to start throwing in throwables and start trying to do zone denial in a sense. So they're going to throw in Molotovs. They're going to throw in gas nades if they can't figure out where they're at. A lot of times, though, you'll see players throw smoke nades down on a tree that they're at. We saw, I believe, Jordy doing that. And typically, these guys will sometimes find them still. They start shooting low for the player laying down, seeing if he's maybe laying to the left or right side of the tree. If you can find the top of the tree out of the smoke, you can kind of find a line to shoot at.
Yeah, I think that is a really big thing because there are a lot of reasons that you would want to throw it around a tree, right? You want to give yourself some additional cover so when the smoke does actually dissipate, you have a play. But that does give a serious amount of information to the player shooting into the smoke as well. Teenage, as we can see, has managed to get healthy here. Doesn't have any armor to work with, no makeshift. Rotating around right now, trying to find some additional resources. Actually just looks like going to try to hold this positioning here. We've actually seen Teenage holding quite a few positions like this throughout, but will potentially have to move soon as we do see gas closing in rapidly. What do we think of this potential finish? I mean, look how tight it is. We have just a little bit of Pleasant Valley and just a little bit of Spence Hills.
Yeah, it's gonna start pulling out. It's gonna start centering. We're gonna have a little bit of Spence Hills at the end. We're most likely gonna pull just outside of PV. There's some trees there just south of PV that'll be within the safe zone. There's a little bit of Spence Hills that'll be in the safe zone. There's a lot of dead pockets, so we're gonna see a lot of tree fights. We're gonna start seeing those smoke nades come down. People start using Molotovs to deny spots. So sometimes you'll throw a Molotov out to the left of somebody, and then you start shooting at the right side. You're forcing the direction that the other player has to go. Radic now getting his car absolutely lit up by Stormin. Stormin trying to find some shots, gets one into Radic. Radic immediately gets a smoke nade down so that he can go ahead and get away and get behind that rock and get some cover. I don't believe there's anybody above him, not that has an angle. Hail Blood Inferno would be the closest one to get a shot from the top. Actually, 50 Shades may have one here shortly. As he's listening to these shots go off, he's starting to somewhat move towards it.
Yeah, you start to get a lot of information from that as well, and that was something that we were speaking to just a little bit in that first game. Teenage actually going to be brought down right now by Rhino, but one of the things that we started to allude to is just how important that information is going to be, and these players are going to be using all of it that is available to them. One of the big things to note is they're going to be paying attention to that kill feed, because not only does that signify a player going down, but it means a player just got out of a fight. So just like that, you can try to jump in and try to clean up that kill. Dropped, gonna pick up another kill here. We saw Dropped being a pretty big slayer in that last match. Grimmy Bear brought down as well by Flame.
I mean, he definitely showed up, getting 6 kills, almost getting the 7 kill, which would have got it, but unfortunately got taken down by Chipsy and denied that $5,000 prize for the last game. But we're seeing him get some kills here early. He might end up getting some more kills here towards the end. Maybe he can pick up the $5,000 this round, and we are going to hear that bomb plane coming in overhead right now, and it is going to be right next to Aladdin. Aladdin knowing where the plane is and where the airdrop is. So interesting thing with that is that on the airdrop as it comes in, the bombs start right where the airdrop is. So if you can figure out what direction the plane's coming from and run towards the plane off of the airdrop, typically you're going to be safe.
We will see right now all of these players spread out decently here, but none of them having huge amounts of cover, mostly trying to use either trees or use the terrain, but not too many POIs here to really use to your advantage. Stormin right now has these smokes down. Looks like he may be in a fight with Radic from Echo Fox.
Yeah, Radic here a little bit lower than Stormin. It looks like Stormin is ahead in that fight, has him down to about 40%, but we are going to hop on board with Prox for a minute here. Looks like he's got himself some decent little trees, just hanging out, trying to find somebody, and Stormin is going to get that finish onto Radic elsewhere on the map and going to take him out. Looks like Radic did put a bit of damage into Stormin, though. He does need to get healed up, but already has that makeshift back on. So one of the things that you'll see these guys do, I was just talking about it, but we didn't state this yet, he throws the makeshift on before he heals, because that will eat a bullet for him. That will keep him alive longer to be able to roll healing if he is shot at.
Yeah, we've seen interesting uses of those. Ooh, body armor going to be popped off here for CBK Flame, going to move back to this tree, trying to get some shots into Prodigy Aces, knowing the location of that player. Potential pinch could come in, though, here. Prodigy Aces is going to take 2 of those shots, healing back up, trying to use cover 2 full advantage. T-Hump going to get out a few shots as well into that vehicle.
He's been in the same spot for a while now. We've seen him holding this. It doesn't look like looks like his car is maybe taking a little bit more damage. It is down in the 49 region. Still fairly healthy, though. He's still got the boost on the car. He's lost a little bit of handling. Jordy was in an exchange with him. Riki here has some healing. It's not going to get him all the way to full. He's trying to run along the edge of the gas, though. Needs to get out farther. He's going to get his healing rolling now. He doesn't have that much toxicity built on him quite yet, so he should be able to get enough healing to be able to run out and stay stable.
Keebler and Landon are right inside of this building. The first one to move is going to reveal the location if these players do not know where each other are at yet. Steps are going to be coming in here, but we are going to see Keebler dipping, getting out of that house. Landon not deciding to take this one. We'll have to see if Landon does decide to move out, but it seems like Landon has a pretty good location there. He doesn't want to move out of that building. He's down to take that short-range fight. Storming going to be brought down by Crank here, then Gabesmon following suit. Nice shots coming in to Rizar. We saw Rizar really shine in the last one, trying to keep this cover here. Nightwalker is going to fall down right now. The kill feed's starting to come alive here. Just like that, we are going to see another one as well. Only 58 players do remain, and the gas is about to advance again in just 2 short minutes. At that point, the powder keg will really erupt.
I mean, right now we're starting to see kind of what I was talking about with this safe zone. We are going to see this play at a more consistent pace rather than the explosion all at once. We're going to lose players a little bit sooner, and it's going to stay paced from here going in towards the end of the game. We're going to lose moment to a shotgun there too. We're really surprised that when we were on Linden that we didn't see him try and take that. Linden, a player that really, at least online during his streams, loves the shotgun. Goes in for a lot of shotgun kills. Kevy going to get taken out by Symphony. Elsewhere on the map, Symphony here getting healed up at about 56%. Already has that makeshift on again, like we talked about, trying to keep himself stable as long as he can to heal. Aladdin getting shots lined up on him by Flame. Flame not taking it. Flame actually looking to try and steal this airdrop possibly.
This is one of the things that the airdrops have just been in exposed locations time and time again. It's been really difficult to try to get them going.
That was really interesting. I was expecting Flame to take it, but Aladdin staying mobile that whole time. Flame didn't feel like he was going to be able to just do a quick, crisp, clean 2-tap. He was waiting for that opportunity on Aladdin to stop for just a split second to just take him out. The opportunity was never there, so he ends up just letting that one go.
And you have to admire that discipline. I mean, the main thing is you have a game plan. Sometimes it doesn't work out exactly how you think it is going to, so you need to adapt. Obviously, you want to be able to get something that's inside that crate. We've seen just countless items in there that can really change the momentum of the entire game for you. Crank going to take some bad shots here. Needs to try to move back. Going to have to invest that smoke. Looking back over, trying to get a line on the opponent that was able to bring him down. CBK Flame already does have the packs rolling here, trying to get that healing rolling.
Yeah, Howie going to get taken out by Sweet Dreams here. Sweet with an easy kill, getting tagged up a bit though from 50 Shades. Going to throw down that smoke nade down to 27%. Needs to get the heal off. Kyrake elsewhere gets a grenade kill onto Bizarre. Mountain FPS going to get taken out by Mini with an AK. We see Memo making the jump to try and get up on this roof. We saw him doing this last game in the Carnival wheel, hanging out on top of the roof of the building over there where he netted himself a few kills. This one doesn't have a very good ridge on the top of the roof though, so there's not really a spot to like lay down and get good cover. I don't expect him to stay there that long, and now we're going to jump over to Flame Hopper.
Yeah,
looks like he's rolling must be crafting something.
Mini actually is going to be taken down right now off screen. Flame Hopper taking a serious amount of shots here, probably slightly disappointed with the amount of placement that he did get last time, going to throw out a smoke here after taking quite a bit of damage. Getting in here, going to try to get that healing rolling. Rizar now taking some damage on this ATV, relatively exposed, but should be able to get out of dodge without a problem by using this smoke. But just like that, we are going to actually see a collapse coming in on him.
Do you see him move off the tree, though? He recognizes that the players are going to recognize or be able to identify where he's at or most likely at. So he goes ahead and throws the smoke, then backs off the tree actually into the open side of the smoke to try and get off of that. So good decision to try and move to not let somebody pre-fire you. We are going to lose Doug is Raw, Era, Carta, Keebler, and Adrian all. Shots are just going out. This is pacing really fast right now. Too. Everybody trying to find a spot. We're just seeing players drop left and right. Dropkick getting the kill onto Aqua.
Just like that, too. Yeah, we actually do see in that fight as well, going down with a few trades there, but just like this, absolutely lighting up is the kill feed. 10K going to go down, and players just choking on the gas as well. There's just nowhere that is safe on this map. Only 31 players do remain. Rizar is going to be moving throughout here, trying to take this fight at close range. Weaving in and out of the trees is going to be 50 Shades, connecting with Rizar. Your champion from the last game will go down right here as player number 31. And you can see in that northern part of your screen just a cluster of players.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can see the safe zone as I was talking about. There's some clusters of trees here and there, but there's a lot of open field, so you've got to start making these plays to try and take a position. If you are not currently at one of the trees where you have some hard cover to use, you need to get out of there, and we are on board with Monster here, who was looking for boxes in the smoke, unable to find him. Box is laying down in there, trying to get some heals off. Chipsy now coming up over the top in a fight here with Linden, gonna drop a smoke nade over himself. Chipsy, who showed up, took down that $5,000 last round, has one kill right now. Not sure if he can go from one kill and get enough of them to take down the second match with another 5K, but he could leave out of here if he does it again with 10.
And we're already down to 25 here, definitely coming alive, and bam, Memo gonna come up right behind JP2, take that kill. Cloak inside of the woods right now, going to try to get his crisp shots out from behind these trees, keeping an eye right now onto, you know, maybe he's gonna try to go in for Memo, knowing the location of Memo, seeing in the kill feed. It seems like a smart play, but now Cloak going to play this tree just a little bit more, rotate around, jumping back on board with Boxes. Haven't gotten to see much from Boxes yet, but we do see that sharp shot coming out right now. Oh, a beautiful kill coming in from Hurrah.
Yeah, Hurrah comes through the back. Geesh, attention elsewhere, and Hurrah makes the quick play to come in with the AK. 50 Shades gonna get taken out by grenade from Sweet Dreams here. Sweet on the press. Rogue gonna take out Jerk Chicken there with a gas nade on the assist from MiG-99. Sweet Dreams, that player that took down DreamHack Atlanta. Box is now in a bit of a pinch here, trying to find the shots onto Harry Frogbat. Molotov out. He is gonna get pinched out in 20th. Monster getting the shot into the side.
Harry Frogbat, though, is just so low. If anyone does collapse there, we may see him go down. Sweet Dreams going to lose the helmet there, instantly gets another one on, puts a few shots into the car and follows up, taking down Rogue from World's Best. Jumping on board with T-Hump, he will go down to Cloak. Cloak was playing that tree very well, still very healthy in this fight, going to be able to gauge yet again. Coming on board with Monster, weaving in and out of the gas here, just trying to stay alive frantically. Solo on the ATV with no cover is going to be a prime target. Shots coming in from the smoke. Mig letting a few rain out here. Rogue Sweet Dreams going down to Zeeth. Mig going to just take this smoke, try to use this here, get the healing rolling. Cloak just absolutely solo, bleeding out. Will he be able to heal up? We're going to see him fall down to Memo, maybe opting to take that fight after seeing in the kill feed that one was going down, maybe trying to get that pinch, but it does not work out. And in the left-hand corner of your screen, you're going to see 3 players in a smoke, and on the right, the same situation. Zeeth actually moving out of the smoke, playing to the outside, just misses that player, does not know that he's there, going to run to the other smoke, probably sees Rhino to the right, moving back around, just trying to rotate, find the other player in the smoke. It's going to be Mig. Who's going to see each other first? We have our top 10. Who is going to go down next? Zeeth looking through this smoke, still does not see his man, going to drop another one there as well. Mig sees him for just a second, tries to put some shots in. Zeeth finally going to be privy to Mig's location, tries to get some shots out. Both are healthy. Pineapples chokes out to this toxic gas, but the fight still isn't over. Zeeth going to see Rhino and then back into the smoke yet again.
Does Zeeth know that he's actually fighting 2 different players right now? Mig is right behind him healing up. He's trying to throw gas nades at the other player. I don't think that he knows that there's 2 separate guys here. He's right in the smoke with Mig. They're right on top of each other. We can barely see him. Mig gonna put some shots into the back of Zeeth. Zeeth down to 32 here and is now behind. He was well ahead, but Mig was able to heal up, standing right next to him as he fought another player.
Mig stayed in the smoke. Zeeth was decided to weave in and out quite a bit. Now Zeeth finds himself behind. We're going to see that bang come out right here. Will the space be closing just like that? Zeeth gets the shots in, stays up, and is able to take down Mig from so far behind.
Rhino, the second player finally comes in, and it finally plays out. The player that waited out won it. We're going to lose Chipsy here in 5th or 6th place there to Memo. YT 2-tap Keem going to go down to Rhino. We've got Memo now taking some long-range shots onto Apex Shay. Apex Shay, vehicle getting eaten up, taking a few hits. Going to throw out a smoke nade here for Hurrah to protect his right side as he takes the fight to Apex Shay.
We have our top 4. Apex Jay seems to be in the most dire situation here. Gonna jump out of the Jeep right to his death. Hurrah, taking him out. Top 3, Memo looking for the fight here. We've seen Memo be an absolute pivotal member of all of these engagements. Rotating around here, sees Rhino. Rhino going to let the shots out into the Jeep. Rhino in an incredible position, only been taking smart fights so far. Going to get into the police car, try to get out of the bad situation. Gonna come right in with the rush here. Moving into the smoke though instead. Just going to keep rotating around. Not going to take a fight that could spell defeat here. Going to use the cover from the car. We see that helmet get popped off, but now we are on board with Memo. Memo letting the shots out to Rhino. Rhino inside of the smoke right now. This is an absolute crazy scenario to have. All 3 of these members are in their respective corners, each having a decent amount of cover, but soon the smokes will run out and only one will be left standing.
Yeah, it's going to be open field. It's going to pull to the middle, so they're going to have to move, but Memo is going to go down finally to Hurrah. So now it is Hurrah versus Rhino. Rhino and Hurrah both looking very intensely at their monitors. They are focused in, and we've got Rhino well behind in this fight. Hurrah might decide to go ahead and make the push here. He is trying to make it, getting the throwable out. Not going to be able to connect. Rhino with another smoke nade down. He's going to fire through the smoke, and he finds Hurrah. Rhino with the shots through the smoke to take down game 2.
Hurrah was about 2 shots up there, and just like that, Rhino is going to come out on top, closing this one out. And that is going to be massive, a huge amount of points gained there. But first, we will have to give out our 5K bonus. It's going to be 6 kills again. This seems to be a pretty consistent number here. Chipsy manages to edge out with 7 this time, but Sweet Dreams going to be able to take that. How on earth did some of those kills come in? Let's take a look at the results to see how all of this did shake out after that action coming in at the end. Rhino on top with such an impressive finish. Hurrah going to be in 2nd place, and we can see right now the kills are going to be 4 for our top 3 players. So all of them slaying out a decent amount, but Sweet Dreams was able to pick up 6.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sweet going off of that 6 kills, going to net that.
And now we have Rhino on. I cannot wait to hear what Rhino has to say after that finish. Kelly, take it away.
Everyone give it up for Rhino on that game, right? Dude, that last kill was so intense. Tell me what was running through your mind.
I seen that he just got the pick on the last guy, and I didn't know if he was weak or not, so I wanted to get on the hill, see if I could get an angle on him, and we were firing. He hit me a few times, got me down to 33 health. So I was kind of nervous there, and then I seen that he kept pushing, but I hit him twice when he hit me, so I knew he was low, and then he just went for it, so I had like position because the little hill there, so he needs in the open, and we almost traded. It was close. It was close.
That was super close, man. Going into the 3rd game, do you have any other strategies that you're going to pull out right now, or are you just going to keep playing like you have been?
Keep playing like I have been. I mean, I've been getting pretty lucky with smokes and stuff. I feel like that's the biggest thing in here, finding the smoke grenades and getting a car. I ended up running through a field, found like the first campsite I went to, found a quad, and then from there I was just like happy because I had smokes, vehicle. I'm like, okay. Yeah.
So going into the 3rd game, is there someone that you're making sure that you, like, if you find him, you're knocking him out so that you could win this game?
Yeah, anybody that plays top 10 in either this one and the last one, if I seen like Sweet or Job Kid placed in this one top 10 again, then probably them. Anybody that's has potential top 10.
All right, man, before I send you off into game 3, is there anything you want to say to people watching at home?
Hi, Mom.
Thanks, man. Good luck and good luck into game 3. Guys, don't go anywhere. We have the finals for the Invitational of the Legends coming up right now.
That's a really important way to think as well. We here in the interview going to try to target those players that have already had the top finishes. Even though you do finish in 1st place, you obviously get a huge amount of points, but it is cumulative for all of the 3 games that we are going to see here today. We're going to take a look at those standings right now and see how it has actually shaken out. So you can see that you need to target the players at the top, because if you do that, you have them finishing lower than you. That's really going to make that 1st place finish count for that much more.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that the kills are coming into play here. Rizar with a few more kills, and it is keeping him just a little bit further ahead of Blood Inferno, who's in that 2nd place. So these things are starting, and what, less than 1,000 or just over 1,000 points between Rhino and Blood Inferno for 2nd. So this is a really tight race here in the top 4 to 5 players. It could be anybody's game. This 3rd game is really going to determine. This is much closer standings than we saw in the All-Star side.
Yeah, the other thing to note, though, too, is though Rhino is just able to shoot up coming in this 2nd match, because when you get that first place, you're just able to shoot up that much. You don't actually even see Rhino in that top 10 in the first match, but now is going to be there. But we do have players that have just gone consistently, been able to hang into the top 10 for both of those standings. But wow, that was just such a crazy second match. Let's take a look at some of the best kills that we did actually see coming in. Just so many. This first one, I believe this is when Rizar actually does manage to take down Sicko.
Yeah, Rizar gets a couple shots there, takes down Sicko here earlier in the match. A little bit of a long-range fight. Memo coming up, and we had that close-range encounter with JP around this tree, and he is able to get that turnaround and come and find that last shot into him. Sweet Dreams now going to be in that fight with Rogue from World Best, and he's going to go ahead and step up and able to get a couple shots there into him as he gets out of the car, and then finish him off with that quick crouch hip fire.
Now coming in right now, we're going to take a look at C. Oh, this is when I started to lose my absolute mind. Able to take down Mig there, just hanging on by the skin of his teeth, and ultimately does get traded out here by Rhino, who is going to be your champion. And that was the thing with Rhino, only taking those smart fights, rotating around, trying to get it there, and then through the smoke, able to take down Hurrah.
Yeah, smoke going off just as Rhino started to pull the trigger, so he was able to get it on right before that smoke went off, and that allowed him to line up that shot and get the kill. Had that gone off maybe a split second sooner from Hurrah, Hurrah may have had the opportunity to try and do an outplay and maybe flank around the other direction, show that he's going one direction, throw the smoke, use that feint, and come back the other way. He could have done an outflank there, but that was definitely got that shot off just in time.
Yeah, those last few were just absolutely crazy. But after all of that is said and done, do you have any predictions going into this next one? I have to say, the chances, I think Blood Inferno has just been the most consistent, like straight up.
Blood Inferno makes it up into those top 10 positions, and he is riding that out. So Blood Inferno is placing very well. We need to see him maybe show up. I think in this third game, he's going to have to get some more kills as well, though, to try and maybe make up a little bit of ground. We'll see if he changes his gameplay up much at all. I don't really think anybody that's in that top 10 is really feeling like they need to change the way they're playing, though. Yeah. They're going to stick to the game plan. They came in with intent to play one way and one way only, and it's working for them. There's no reason to change it up.
Hey, you got to do the math at this point, right?
No, we don't do those.
You need to, we don't. They do.
They
need to do the math. So one of the things that you have to know, if you're a player and you're looking, you're going, okay, I can't necessarily like even if I have first place, right? Dream scenario, I'm able to come in, get first place out of the 75 of the best players who have been invited. If I get that first place and it still isn't enough to really break me into prize money, aiming for 10th isn't that great because it's only going to be $2,000. You might actually in this third game decide to go all out, try to get those kills, try to get the $5,000. We've given $5,000 out for each of the matches to whoever has gotten the top kills. We're going to do that again for the third. I think if you find yourself in a scenario where you just finished in not great placing, this is where you go for that 5K.
Yeah, you go for the 5K. And good one thing to point out, though, is Sweet Dreams took down 5K there. Sweet Dreams actually was tied for top kills in DreamHack as well.
Yeah, that is true. So we actually did get an opportunity to talk to some of our players right now. Want to take a quick look at what they had to say. Right now, we have Stormin.
Who can I slay in a 1v1 every time? I'm going to say Jerk Chicken. I don't know, man. He's washed. My strategy to win the Invitationals is probably to try to stay away from fights as much as possible. I'm very excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm hyped to compete again. What song would I walk out to if I won the H1Z1 Invitationals? I'd say there's this song in A Million Ways to Die in the West, the Mustache song. I'm mustache, I'm mustache. My name is Stormin. I'm here to win the H1Z1 Invitation.
Do you think you have seen Stormin do that? He said one of the ways that he wanted to actually go about these fights is to try to avoid as many engagements as he can. I feel like we have seen Stormin take a decent amount of engagements. Do you think that he's only doing that out of necessity?
Yeah, he's definitely, the majority of these players are only going to take a fight out of necessity. It is either, hey, I want you to know that I'm here so that you do not push into me. I'm trying to aggressively defend my position, or I'm trying to not give away my position at all unless I see an open opportunity to take a shot at you. If he finds somebody sitting still, he's obviously going to go ahead and go for that quick 2-tap, try and pick up that kill. But these guys aren't trying to just rush at each other and get into the fight. We saw the guys trying to disengage, obviously, with Rhino and Zeeth, and I believe it was Mig in that smoke. I mean, they don't want to be in that scenario at all. They're trying to avoid it, but sometimes the inevitable is going to happen, and that's one of the things that's so great for a spectator. I think some of the players get really stressed in it, but it plays out so much different than other esports that we typically see, is that you watch the story, you see the build-up, and then you see these guys have to try and work their way out of a situation that's just handed to them. You have to deal with what you're dealt. It's not I die, I respawn back at the other end and come back and return the favor. You've got 1 life per match, and that is it.
And definitely going to be stressful here coming into the third match. You've already seen the cumulative standings for both match 1 and 2. You kind of know exactly what you need to do to win at this point. If you are in the top 10, you know who else is there hanging out with you. You know how many points you need to have to be able to beat them based off their placement as well. And the prize pool is absolutely massive. First place going to be taking home $80,000. Second place, $50,000. Third, $35,000. After that, it starts to fall off just a little bit, but the top 10 players will all be taking home prize money, and whoever gets the most kills going to be taking $5K for this game.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have a third winner of that $5K again. And another thing to look at is that a guy that maybe takes first this game that's on the bubble, if you're in that top 20 still, if you add a win in this game, we don't really see who's in that 11 to 20 spot. Yeah. There's still a potential for somebody down there to make a massive jump if these guys in the top 10 don't get another top 10 finish.
It's pretty easy to, if you get a top 10 finish, it's pretty easy to jump up, right? One of the things that is going to be difficult against a lot of these consistent players, obviously first place worth a huge amount of points. Want to emphasize that. So if you do get first place, you're pretty much guaranteed a top 10 finish, even if you came out and just had an absolutely abysmal performance in both your other games. Having that first place is going to be
really bad to not be able to make it into top 10 off of a win. You get a ton of points for a win.
Exactly.
It's weighted very heavy.
But one of the things that is really important is actually seeing the consistency coming out from some of these players. So when we talk about players like Blood Inferno, just having this consistency coming in number 2 right now, I do believe, that's something that's really difficult to break up. Even if you do have a really great finish, if you come in and have a 4th place finish, getting a high finish in the top 10 over and over and over again is not something that you're going to be able to overcome with just one match. So going into game number 3, we kind of already know who the most dangerous players are going to be and who is the closest to this prize pool.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and it's always interesting, though. I mean, we try to predict them all in DreamHack, and there was a couple people that snuck in, so I'm interested to see how the shakeup is on that total match score at the end of this third game.
Yeah, I am as well. I am also always excited. I said this before we actually jumped into the second game as well. I am always excited to see who is going to be able to pick up the most kills. Right now, we already did see Chipsy take that first 5K with 7 kills. That is going to be the record for the day for the most kills. But throughout the weekend, we have seen kills as high as 9. Somebody please go completely crazy in game number 3. Try to give me 10.
I would love to see the 10. I don't know that we're gonna get to see it. If we do, it's going to be absolutely awesome and hype. I want to see one of these guys go off. It's really going to depend, again, on that safe zone ending. We saw that there was a lot more opportunities when we were in that close encounter combat situations where they're forced to fight more often in that first safe zone. And we see how much the safe zone absolutely affects the pacing of the game. We saw people start dying much sooner than we did in the previous match. It was very consistent on how quickly people were dying. Just kind of domino effect there for a minute or two until we got down to that final 15 maybe, and then it starts to slow the pace back down, and then it picks back up for about 10 kills until there's 5 remaining.
Now the question is, we've already seen we've seen a pretty wide variance of finishes between those two. They were very different. What do you expect? Like, what would be the craziest finish for you to see right now? Like, what are the other options that we could necessarily have? I would love to see something like a PV. I would just love to see a classic PV finish here.
You're lucky these guys have headphones on, because if they were able to hear you, they would be turning around just glaring directly at you.
It's so much fun to watch, though.
It's a ton of fun to watch, and it can definitely create some high kill potential matches, especially if it decides to just dead center itself over maybe the clock tower in the middle of the town.
We're looking at Cloak right now. I could actually, this is one of the players that I could see coming out right now and just deciding to go absolutely crazy, try to pull down that 5K, assuming he's probably not completely thrilled with his finishes so far, not coming up that far to the top, but he has one of the nastiest shots in the game. Maybe comes out right now, tries to grab that 5K and go home with some prize money.
I mean, anybody not sitting in that top 10 overall right now isn't really happy. None of these guys want to leave without money. If you haven't already lined your pocket with 5,000 from winning a match, and both of the guys that have the high kills, I think, were on those top 10 lists, you're not already with a little money in your pocket, you're not happy with your performance. You definitely want to go and take down that cash. So I think we're going to see a lot of guys. We might end up seeing, it's either this game's going to speed way up, or this game is going to slow way down and cause a much more chaotic ending.
It's such a momentum thing, too, as well. I mean, the big thing is we had that Pro League announcement actually come out this weekend. When you're headed into the Pro League, you definitely want to have that win in your pocket, whether you're trying to get on a new team or you're just trying to get that momentum on with the team that you already are on entering that Pro League.
I mean, yeah, and there are some guys here that aren't necessarily on orgs currently that are just top-tier players that maybe were on an org and currently just looking for a new one. There's guys that are trying to basically make their name known. They absolutely want to be noticed with the announcement of the Pro League. Being able to get picked up by an org and go into that is a big deal.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I'm sure that the prize pool will only continue to grow as well. I mean, we talked about last year, we saw a much smaller prize pool, and all of a sudden we're up to 80K for first place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a huge bump up from last year.
Yeah, I mean, doubling the first place prize pool definitely feels pretty good if you are coming out here at Twitchcon, and this is, even if it is your first tournament, I mean, that's a huge motivation to keep going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I believe we actually got some more promo items here for the guys at home. For anybody that is viewing at home, we do have another item. And if you look right down on this side here, you can actually see that URL that'll get you the AR-15, the Vertigo AR-15. So if you were here with us on Friday and Saturday, you've already gotten yourself the helmet and the makeshift. Now you can go ahead and get that matching AR-15. You guys got until midnight tonight to grab that one Pacific time.
Yeah, completely exclusive too. So if you do want to grab this skin, just do it now. Just get it out of the way. Make sure that you do get it. We already did give out, as you did already mention, the other two Vertigo skins, and those are no longer obtainable.
Yeah, they are not available anymore. You have already missed out on those, but make sure you grab this one. This is going to be the big one anyways. This is the weapon skin. This is the one you want.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be the one you want. And also, if you are just watching H1Z1 for the first time, if you aren't maybe as familiar with the game, you can grab it right now for 50% off and jump in, and hey, maybe we'll see you at one of these tournaments soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun things coming up in the game, a lot of changes, some the original map remastered, so there's just a ton of fun coming for this game, and definitely worth it for 50% off.
And a Pro League. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Yeah, it's really exciting to actually see that remastered map come in, and excited to see everything that will go down with that. Have to see where it is actually used as well. But having that Pro League, it's just such a huge thing as a player, and to see the esport still continuing to grow so much, really exciting to move into that Pro League. And now we got our 75 players in seats. Really excited to see this third match play out. We started out with our Challengers tournament, getting the qualifiers done. We had 7 games with 75 players. Now we know who's going to be competing a little bit later on in the day for that $50,000 prize pool. Yep. We already settled All-Stars yesterday.
All-Stars taken care of. We had Sandy Ravage taken down.
Sandy Ravage was nuts, by the way.
What was it, $70,000 yesterday for first?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Sandy Ravage big. We got to see the soda pop and kill onto the dock.
Yeah, Soda Poppin' actually able to take down Dr. Disrespect, one of my favorite kills of the day, but now we are here for Legends. All 75 of these players were invited because they are the top of the top in H1Z1. And man, I really think that this is going to be so important, even though it's all cumulative and the first two do matter quite a bit. I really think that we could see something get shaken up here. I mean, we already saw how quickly Rhino could just jump up.
Oh, yeah, I think it's going to shake up a ton. I don't think there's going to be a few guys that were sitting in that, and if they were, while they were sitting down looking up and getting to see it on the Titantrons up above us, or the big screens up there, they're not going to be happy. There's a high potential that some of those guys are going to get bumped off that list.
Yeah, we're really excited to be jumping into this one. We are just a few short seconds away, so get ready, because after this one, we will know who is going to be our champion from this Legends Invitational, who will be bringing home $80,000 for first place, and all of the glory that comes along with it, entering the Pro League, going to be absolutely huge, especially if someone grabs this who isn't on an org yet.
I mean, that's a huge thing, especially with Pro League coming up, showing that you can play on this stage, in this environment, with the viewers online. You know what the viewers are looking like. You have people live in-house. You've got guys standing right in front of you. There's a lot of eyes on you, a lot of pressure. If you can show up here, that's pretty big. That's the kind of thing you want on a pro team.
LAN leagues tend to be a little bit easier, too, than these big, giant tournaments, because you don't have all the people watching, and you get used to the setup. But now we do have our break. It's time to kick this off, the final match of Legends. And what do you see here? Who do you expect to, or what do you expect the actual ring to be?
I mean, it's not going southeast. We just saw the southeast completely open again, so I'm going to go ahead and try and go northwest, hopefully a little bit farther over than the previous one that we saw in the fairgrounds on game 1. We are going to jump on board right here with Jordy and Grimmy, both of them getting ARs or getting rifles, and they are in a fight. Grimmy tagged once, Jordy down to 1 shot versus that AK.
Yeah, Jordy does a really good job there, needs to retreat. We actually see the strafes coming out. That's going to avoid quite a lot of the onslaught that Grimmy Bear is going to put out, trying to get healthy here. No longer 1 shot, still trying to disengage. Grimmy Bear with eyes on Jordy. Jordy still managing to get some loot on the way down this staircase.
Ooh, 3rd player there as well. I mean, this is an awkward situation for those 3 guys as a starting point. You do not want to be having to loot against other players. So now you have to make a decision to either stay where you're at and continue to loot and have to take engagements, eliminate them so that you don't have to deal with them, or separate completely and 2 guys are going to have to leave and leave all that loot to 1 guy.
This is your last shot as well, so you do need to be thinking how exactly it's going to impact the standings. We do see Rhino. Rhino did an incredible job last game. Viva La Bad trying to get some shots into that opponent, and that is absolutely huge if you can take down Rhino this early. That will dramatically change the leaderboard, and it will dramatically change who is able to get that prize money.
Yeah, Rhino not going to take this fight. Rhino's going to try and disengage if he has the opportunity to. He's going to make sure that he has at least a helmet on before he takes off, but he's going to disengage, and we are back over here with Gabe, Jordy, and Grimmy all at the hospital. It looks like Gabe may be underground. He might be down in the morgue looting up the underground floor. Jordy has a little bit of loot here towards the back of the building. Going to go ahead and head out.
Hospital tends to be, I mean, it's always one of those loot-heavy zones. Maybe you could see a few players rotate through there, grab their loot, and not necessarily have to engage. Jordy, though, is going to exit. This is such a dangerous safe zone to see. We can already see about a third of it just eliminated. This is going to get tight quick, and it is going to get absolutely ugly.
Hey, I hit it dead on. I don't know if it can go any further northwest than it did, so it is right on that northwest corner. We're going to have a lot of mountains in that safe zone, and it is most likely going to center upon those mountains just based upon the percentage of the zone that is mountainous, and you're going to see a lot of fun fights there. There's a lot of options to outplay other guys, do a lot of flanks, get some smoke nades down. There's just a ton of outplay areas up there, so this is a fun one. This is one that feels very much back to the original, the Z1, where these guys all originally started playing. They are very, very comfortable in those types of areas, so it'll be fun to watch them play there.
Very excited to see how it does go down, but another thing to note is you just have less of a safe area when it does pull that far to that northwest area because of those hills. That's going to be a lot of dead space. Seeing Pineapples now inside of the Jeep again. It seems like every single match he is able to get that Jeep in the beginning portions of the game. We'll have to see what he can do with it this time. Prodigy Aces is going to see Flamehopper here get a few shots in with the rifle, moving back to the Jeep.
Nice 2-hit there. Going to be able to grab that. A little bit of ammo. Not a bad little campsite. I mean, you got a shotgun, a 2-hit. You got some AK rounds. Definitely a nice little spot to loot up.
Indeed, and we can actually see there, it seems like just has about everything needed inside of that kit.
He feels pretty good. He didn't grab that last helmet. He decided
that was
to
what
leave
I was
it.
about.
Typically, you want to shred that, so that was interesting. So it looks like he's done pretty well on loot so far. He's decided he does not need the scraps from that helmet.
Yeah, one of the big things, too, is just helmets being an incredible thing to have against players of this caliber as well. We were talking about 2 taps can just come in at any time. We are going to see right now Body Armor takes a shot there for Gabe is Mine. Gabe is Mine still in this fight with Grimmy Bear, about 2 shots up here. Trying to take him down, moving into the forest, trying to find a good line, getting the high ground here as well. And you can see some serious strafing coming in, trying to avoid the rifling of Grimmy Bear.
Yeah. And they're going to go ahead and disengage, and now I'm thinking back at Prodigy Aces, he has a vehicle. I'm surprised he didn't throw it in the trunk, so he feels very comfortable with the amount of materials he has to just leave a helmet behind, especially when you can just load them up into the trunk of your car and carry them around with you.
2 players going to zoom on past each other. It's going to be Zeeth inside of that police car, dropped inside of this truck. Going to jump out here, definitely wants to get some damage into that police car, just such a high value vehicle. Throwing out a couple of shots there. We are going to see that Zeeth takes about 1 there. Now, as we do move forward through this scrapping phase, for anyone who is just tuning in, we should probably talk about the exact loadout that these players are going for.
I mean, these guys are looking for scrap materials to go ahead and be able to make their makeshifts. You need two helmet scraps, four composite scraps, and a duct tape to make those. They want to start stacking those up, loading them into their cars, carrying them in their backpacks. They want to have an AR, AR or AK for long-range engagements. They need a shotgun or SMG, possibly, unless they feel more comfortable with an AK in close range. AK very powerful in close range since it is full automatic, but you want 2 long-range weapons and a throwable in most situations. There are some guys, though, that are just 100% committed to their shotgun, so you'll see some of those guys still carrying it around.
Flamehopper and Blood Inferno both seeing each other on top of these hills in their vehicles. Jeep just being so great at moving on terrain just like this. Blood Inferno been so consistent throughout all of these matches. One of the top players right now to try to take this entire thing. You can see Prox right now in that a little bit far off in the screen, about 57 meters away. Prox came up big in DreamHack, grabbing second place. Mountain FPS keeping this cover right now, moving back and forth. Finally going to see Prox letting those shots out, trying to get some damage done. We can see both of these players completely healthy, now aware of each other's location. It's going to be Mountain FPS trying to move around this fence. Helmet gets popped right on off.
Yeah, Prox gets that shot into the helmet and then misses the follow-up shot. He pulls down just enough to end up hitting the body armor. We're in a close-range fight here between Boxes and YT 2-Tap. YT 2-Tap going to be able to close that one out with that shotgun.
YT 2-Tap going to send Boxes home. And that was one of the big names going into this. And Boxes now seems to be in a pretty dire situation. Don't think he will be able to pop back up on that leaderboard. 71 players still do remain here. Gas is still going to be spreading. And already, if you are just tuning in, we want to note that this is one of the most interesting potential final rings that we have seen. That safe zone is going to be high up in those hills in that northwestern area of the map. And you can see right now, it is just going to be clustered. Not that much playable area up there.
Players with some long journeys ahead of them still, but they are well ahead of the Gas. You do have Crumb, Gas Runner, Omni, all those guys up in the northeast corner. A couple guys still a little far south. Most likely already have cars, or they would have been moving already. So I do expect most of those guys to make it to the safe zone with ease.
Jumping right on board with Gotaga right now. Hurrah, a little bit low inside of the building at this moment.
Vitality versus Vitality. One of these guys is gonna be sending a friend home in a minute.
And never feels that good, but with this much prize money on the line, you gotta go for it. Hurrah tries to use that smoke to get out of Gotaga's crossfire. Starts to move around the building. Gotaga gets a solid good 2 shots in here. Should be able to take Hurrah down with just another 2. Another smoke is going to be used here. Now inside of the truck, easy to get those shots right through that back window. Gotaga going to be able to send his friend home. Only one member from Vitality is going to be left standing after that engagement. Grimmy Bear moving on over. There's some pretty good loot over here. Grimmy Bear does seem to be relatively kitted. Illusions has some very high ground, trying to get as much information as possible. Does see Jerk Chicken. We can see Cloak even higher up here in the hills, about 400 meters off.
Cloak's in Narnia. Cloak is about as far up there as you can get. He is just gone. He has no intention of taking a fight anytime soon.
I really thought that Cloak may try to get way more aggressive here, maybe trying to go for that 5K, just knowing Cloak. Maybe when we actually do get to a tighter ring, he'll try to really turn things on.
He might, once it starts getting towards the end, especially if it decides to pull towards him. I mean, he's already got the high ground, so he can just kind of fire down, and there is more space left up there still, so he hasn't gone as far as he possibly can. Players are not used to going that far into that corner of the map at all, and it looks like it could possibly center right about where Cloak is, so he may be pretty comfortable there. He doesn't want to have to go outside of what the next safe zone might be and then pull back into it.
It does also play to Cloak's play style pretty well. He does have a really good shot. He should be pretty good in a long-ranged rifling fight. Prodigy Aces was taking a little bit of fire here. He still does have his Jeep if he does need that quick escape, but we're going to jump on board with Da FPS. Moving on under this bridge, it should provide him with some solid cover, and he does also have that police car to work with. A pretty decent crate is going to come down right now from the drop, but we are not going to see that hunting rifle.
Yeah, and when you get to one, you don't have a hunting rifle, it doesn't feel quite as good, but getting that 2-hit is still a really big pickup, and the majority of these guys only have makeshifts on, so they'll throw it into their car and then pick up that 2-hit. So that's still a much worthwhile, or very worth their time.
Well, Rizar and Drazzle are going to be the two players to come very close here. Rizar screeches on by, doesn't necessarily make the time to grab it yet. We've seen quite a few of those drops come down in wide open areas, so players not necessarily trying to go for them. We're on board with T-Hump though right now, and you can see that he does have some of those throwables equipped.
Yeah, he's definitely ready. He's got his 2-hit on. It hasn't been tagged yet. He is feeling very strong there in that position. Never feeling too strong. It is a battle royale game, so there's always a sense of danger, but you feel much more comfortable with a fresh 2-hit on than you do having a makeshift on.
Yeah,
and how he gets eliminated to a headshot there somewhere on the map.
Very different feeling in this game after you have been tagged. Rogue Sweet Dreams going to decide to be a mountain climber as well here, and this seems to be the flavor of this game. Some really nice shots being put out by Illusion, but he isn't going to find much purchase here into Shurima Wizard, trying to figure out exactly how to get these shots in. Has a decent amount of space between Illusion and all of these players, but just the amount of information you can gather from these hills is huge, and a player like Illusion will be able to use that to full advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Illusion, absolute monster player, and seeing him and possibly Sweet Dreams collide would be a battle of titans there. Jeesh right down below. Actually, he's pretty far out there. I don't think he's coming up. He might actually be trying to go and finding himself a building to hide in. A lot of guys up in these mountains, though. We still don't see Cloak making much movement at all up there. He's still in the exact same spot, has not moved at all in the safe zone. Is starting to pull a little bit towards the center of that lake there, just off the left of Riki. CBK Flame is still got a ways to go. Flame must have been without car, and the cars in his area must have already been grabbed off spawn, but we are going to be hopping on board with Aqua 5 here. He gets a couple shots into Rhino. Rhino going to throw down that smoke. Grenades coming out from Aqua, trying to find Rhino in the smoke, and he is going to find it, and that's going to take Rhino down, and that is going to shake up the top 10 placement for him if some of these other guys come up. That's a very early out for Rhino after taking down that last match.
This really just makes the playing field that much more wide open. We are going to see Rhino, one of those players who was able to get that top finish coming in game number 2. That massive amount of points should definitely guarantee him some money here, but now getting taken out this early at around 69th or 70th, this is just going to open the door for some new players to come up into that top 10.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was a beautiful nade from Aqua, getting the arc down to drop it on the far side and put it right on top of Rhino inside that smoke and take him out. So great play from Aqua.
Now, taking a look right now, we can see just how many players are going to be high up in these hills. So all the players who are at these lower points, their location may be revealed to these players like Jerk Chicken, who have situated themselves very high up. Stormin, we actually heard in an interview that he wanted to avoid as many fights as possible, and you can see here, he knows just how important, not necessarily going for those fights are, but just being aggressive in defending his location. Mountain FPS may go down here, get some solid shots into Drazzle, but from behind, Mountain FPS will get pinched by Rizar. Jordy able to take down Grimmy Bear, and we can see that one, he got the assist from Gavesmon. Just everybody teaming up against each other. Flame Hopper inside of this vehicle. Kyreg may go down here trying to H this one out, but Isco does come out on top. He was one shot at that point, so that could turn around, and you can see Stormin trying to move down the hills right now, potentially trying to find a kill.
Yeah, absolutely. Isco very patient there. He is going to finally go down. Takes a shot from Aladdin at one point and bleeds out to him. But he's very calm in that situation with the shotgun. A lot of the times when you get in those close range engagements, we talk about them being coin flips, it tends to go to the person that's a little bit calmer, holds his shot back, and ends up making sure that he's going to connect. So Isco was able to take that one down, but unfortunately goes down to Aladdin, who we're on board with right now in a fight with Stormin.
Stormin right now a little bit lower down. We can see Aladdin just thrusting out that grenade, but Stormin able to get back into that cop car, and he's going to get into that valley that is created by the ridges. That's going to give him some really strong cover, and we can see players like CBK Flame still trying to beat out this gas. The gas will advance in another minute and 30 seconds here. We are in another close range fight, peeking out from the window, trying to get that shot there. Calsey going to go the opposite direction around this camper.
Yeah, Calsey trying to find it, comes out for a quick peek on that side to get Candy, misses it. Candy re-peeks though and catches Calsey. Calsey coming out just a little far as he pushed forward, and he wasn't able to quickly strafe back to his right to get behind it. That step forward ended up costing him his life.
Yeah, we've actually seen Candyman in quite a few of these close range fights here today, but only 60 players do remain in this, our third and final match of Legends. Harry Frogback going to be another one of the players that is high up in these hills.
And I mean, you can just see this everywhere. There's just mountainous zone all over the place. There's so many little areas where you can kind of try and make quick peek outs or start making quick pushes where you're not at risk of getting hit too many times. You can really start trying to close in on players to get into those throwable ranges. So it's really interesting to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing to note too is it makes the rings that much quicker because you just have zones eliminated out from play because of those mountains. You just have part of that safe zone is going to be dead space. So it is getting much tighter here for these 60 players that are still up.
I think in the overall, with just how many mountains they are and the way that they're structured, you can kind of see on the top side of the screen here, the little ridges and the bumps and the little fingers on the mountain. That there's so much playable zone actually when you start getting farther up into it. So the farther up they get into these mountains, the amount of spots for guys to hide and try and make pinch plays and everything just starts opening up. There's a world of possibilities up there for these guys to make use of.
We've already seen those pinches starting to come in as well.
Yeah, Colje here might try to take a couple shots down towards Jeesh. Looks like he's trying to find the angle. Jeesh has already taken a few shots at him, but he is behind technically in armor value. Colje is going to be up to 100% here in a moment. Jeesh does not have any armor yet.
Sweet Dreams moving up the hill right now. We can see that Illusion already has found a pretty good situation here. Maybe able to get some good shots in. They've both noticed each other, and a really nice shot is going to come out of Sweet Dreams. An explosion going to go off here. Sweet Dreams starting to rotate around. Maybe does want this fight. I think it's the position that he is after. You can see Jerk Chicken in the wings here. Gas finally meeting up to that safe zone, and we can see Sicko still trying to rotate in. Granny finally beating that gas for the first time here, but it is going to get that much tighter. It's actually going to pull a little bit southeast.
Yeah, it's interesting to see some of these guys not pushing quite as far as like Cloak and Gas Runner are, and they're just not utilizing any of that northwest part of the zone. Now it does start to flatten out a little bit once you get past that top peak, but there's still ridges and everything that you can use back there, and I'm just really interested to see why these guys haven't used it.
Yeah, well, a player like Blood Inferno going to be taken out here too. This is actually really important as well. We talked about Rhino getting taken out early and how much that can actually impact the standings, but now when we see at 58th Blood Inferno getting out or 59th Blood Inferno getting out, that was one of the most consistent players throughout the two matches with very high finishes. Now with 57 players remaining, we see Stormin engrossed in combat here. It's going to be dropped on the end of impressive rifling. About 2 shots off from dropping him is Stormin. Dropped, trying to get some heals going, moving in and out of cover. You can see him dipping out to that left side several times there. Procs inside of the cop car. JP2 letting out some shots, going to get them into the vehicle, so he does take a little bit away from him in this fight. Stormin getting hit though now. This could be the pinch to take him down. Kevy falls to Riki. Another explosion coming in.
I think that he actually got caught by a nade on a long lob there from Drop. I don't know if he's actually getting pinched, but Drop is on the push off that nade, and actually Drop has decided to push away. He's going to use that opportunity when Stormin backed off to get away. Stormin with some great long-range shots. Not quite enough connections, though, to take him down.
Dropped and Stormin still neck and neck here. We can see Stormin ahead on this fight by a few shots. He's going to move away, though, due to positioning. Rotating around right now up this hill. Can move down this divot. And you can see this cop car is just not in good condition at all. Already is smoking.
Yeah, it needs a new mechanic. Something's definitely wrong with that engine. And we've got all these guys going ahead and taking some cabins. Got some campers that are in campers in terms of Candy, who is actually camping in a camper currently. But these guys are just trying to hold off a little bit. You don't want to go out and have to take engagements at 56, especially if you maybe didn't have that great of placement in game 1 and 2, or maybe you had middle of the road performances and you need a good one now. You want to avoid almost every fight if possible.
Yeah, and we will get to that moment soon as it does get a little bit tighter where we will see that kill feed absolutely light up. But for now, with 55 players still here, it is going to be Crank and Yogi right now in a little bit of a standoff. Yogi potentially using this Jeep to close space.
I don't think that Yogi wants to close space unless he has to. He's looking around trying to see if there's any safe spots that he can get to. He does get tagged once by Crank. It looks like he's going to go ahead and throw a smoke out over the vehicle, try and protect himself from Crumb. Stormin also firing down into Yogi. Yogi with only protection on one side, currently between his car and the rock, so he is kind of protected on both sides. Looks like he got his heel off to get stabilized and is going to drive out of that smoke and try and find a new location.
Candyvan letting out some shots here as well, and you already mentioned Candyvan was staying in this camper quite a bit. Location may not be as safe as it was a few seconds ago. Crumb using this police car, getting back inside it and riding the gas just a little bit, is going to have that at his back.
Yeah, the lights here are actually doing something interesting. I just noticed every time the arena lights up, every time somebody gets into a cop car. I don't know how I missed that all weekend. That's what's going off. Yeah, it just,
is that what that is?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It just kind of caught me off guard here. All sorts of stuff going on. Linden here with his patriotic Jeep up here in the mountains, looking for some shots down onto one of these players, trying to find Sicko FPS. Gets one connection into him, takes off the makeshift, getting a helmet ripped off. Juan Correa really low here, gonna have to hop into the cop car, on fire. Cop car gonna explode, has to ditch it, tries to lay down. I don't think he's gonna have enough cover, and he will not. Drassel gonna find his head and eliminate him down in 53rd.
Just like that, we're going to see another one come in. It's going to be Yogi. We found Yogi in a bad situation just a little while ago inside of that Jeep, trying to find a safe place, but finally going to pick up a kill of his very own. Doug is raw, has a Jeep to be working with. Really strong here on this mountainous terrain. A few shots are going to be coming in, and you can see the vehicle starting to take some serious damage. Now on fire. Doug is raw, going to need to come out, but he's right on top of Illusions. He's going to have to take this fight here, and that Jeep flies straight out towards Illusions. Going to actually invest a smoke here as well. That's going to give additional cover. Yeah, you basically just created a car bomb, just shot his damaged vehicle right out at his opponent. Yogi winning that last fight, but not out of it yet.
Yeah, those car bombs used to be a big thing back in the day. Just set your car on fire for the lulls and just throw it at people and see if you can shoot your car and blow it up, use it like a grenade. I don't think that they're trying to make that kind of play here at the land, though.
Yeah, no need to be flashy with this much money on the line. Winner of this will be getting a huge amount of points, and whoever has the top points out of this game and the cumulative points from game 1, 2, and 3, this being game 3, will take home that $80,000 prize for first place. But a little bit more of a pool right now for the safe zone. Gas advancing in about 15 seconds here. More deaths coming in right now. We're going to see 2, and now Doug is raw moving in against Illusion, throwing out that Molotov. On fire right now is Doug is raw.
Yeah, Doug is raw on fire. He's trying to push up. There's a lot of different little things here he can use for cover, though. Illusion backing off. He's going to be out of trouble for a moment. We hear bombs coming through. Doesn't look like it's going to take anybody out. Shots now coming out again from Illusion. Gets him fairly low. Both down to one shot. Illusion's going to pull that one off. Has a heal already rolling. He is stable. He just got to roll a couple bandages to go ahead and get himself fully healed up. Doug does go down there. Adrian on the flip of his car, starting to get shots into it from Candyvan and 50 Shades. Down under 10%. Missing a helmet. Needs to get to cover. Gets the helmet in on the run there very quickly, and he's going to find cover and get some healing off.
Adrian found himself in a really bad situation there, but is able to recover here. Now inside of the building, actually going to close that door. Stormin still alive in this one. Guarani, though, has fallen down to Apex Shea. Both of those names very high-end competitors here. Stormin at the top of this mountain. This is Flamehopper finally starting to advance a little bit further on. It's been really rough for Flamehopper here. Adrian has still has that damage to work with. Zeeth inside of that gas grenade, going to have to move out of this building.
Yeah, Zeeth's going to have to make a move out. JP2 and Bizarre both going to get eliminated here on that map. Was on the map elsewhere. Aqua 5 also going to go down here to Monster from Noble. And we've got some binocular game from Crumb, just trying to gain information. Crumb's definitely one of those more methodical players. We talked about it a bit at DreamHack, and when he's playing on teams, he's that guy that's gaining the information for you and letting you know what's going on. Head always on a swivel. So Crumb making great use of the binoculars to just try and gain information on where the other players are and maybe start planning what direction he's going to go to try to make it to the safe zone when it does decide to rotate.
Now jumping on board with Rogue from World's Best. Seeing Stormin right now with a decent line on Flamehopper as well. Doesn't want to engage, though. We've already heard from Stormin. You can see that he does have the binoculars as well. He trying to gain as much information. You talk about Crumb trying to do that. Stormin doesn't want to take any fights that he does not have to take. He's taking them out of necessity, but he does see Flamehopper there. Harry Frog Bat up above in these mountains. Moman behind the tree. This fight could happen here. Moman keeping an eye on Harry Frogbat. Gas about to advance here in another minute.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to take the fight there. Moman, I'm not sure
Stormin
if they're aware
did it.
of Moman.
He
Yeah,
went for Flamehopper.
Yeah, he ended up going and taking that fight, and he does win it elsewhere on the map. We're not able to catch that one. Moman on the play, trying to make a push. He did see Harry Frogbat before, steps up, gets the first couple shots, but gets the turnaround brought to him. Harry Frogbat going to drop Moman on the turn.
Just like that, we will see Harry Frogbat able to hold this position a little bit longer. We'll have to see if another player tries to come in and grab that pinch. Now some long distance shots are going to be rained out, but Rogue going to fall down to Memo.
Yeah, Memo coming up over the top there with that AK, sprays down and catches the top of the head. When you have that kind of height, you have a much higher percentage chance of catching the head, shooting down. Aladdin now trying to make a run there in that pickup truck. A little low, Gas Runner in a fight here with Illusions, looking for the SMG, something that we don't see that often, and it's going to work out for him, and he takes down Illusion.
I mean, Illusion just was so low there. As long as you just have one of those spray and prays go in, and that's one of the nice things actually about seeing that weapon come out there. Not usually the case that you do see it in, but able to cut down Illusions and not have to invest any ammo from a rifle. FPS seems to be moving around here, trying to get a look at Geesh.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to go ahead and force Geesh out of that building, using a couple gas nades to try and get a little bit of zone denial. Another one going to come out and try and force him out of there. But it looks like Dodge is going to throw it and get out of there. Teenage extremely low here. Jordy with shots into him. Going to throw out a gas nade actually to try and hold him from pushing. But Jordy finds the angle, throws the last shot, gets him, and Gabe his mom going to drop to Harry Frogbat.
Harry Frogbat moving through. Cloak, who was up in these mountains for just so long, may have to engage at this point. P90 Princess is going to go down off screen. Inside of the gas, we are seeing Molotovs being thrown out by Jordy, but back on board with Harry Frogbat, running right up to Cloak, trying to take this fight, getting some huge shots, should be able to take this one down easy. Cloak does fall to Harry Frogbat.
Aladdin goes down elsewhere on the map too. Zeet and Crank also going to go down to his good friend Yogi. Shurima now on the run here. Shots coming out from both Gas Runner and Prox into the vehicle. Car on fire, has to ditch it. Almost lands on his head and takes himself out with it. Gets a smoke down as he takes a shot to the back. Gets another one out, and he's probably going to take cover and heal up.
Jordy right now, we saw a little bit earlier taking those fights. Now in a position where he's going to jump down. This is going to be really interesting. He tries to take the fight. Falls down, though, to Cool J.
I don't think that he actually intended to go down. I think he overstepped just a little bit and ended up going for a slide ride there. Yogi going to take down Piney. Yogi just taking out teammates left and right. Sweet Dreams going to turn around and get taken out by his teammate on Rogue. Lifted, taking him down. Kolje going to drop to a grenade also by YT2Tap.
We are down to just 24 players here. Carta up behind the tree, trying to see if anyone is nearby. And this is one of the crazy scenarios that we actually do see with this ring. I mean, look where this the potentially final ring is actually going to end up. Like, what type of cover are these players really going to have?
They've got little ridges. There's ridges everywhere. There's trees throughout. There's little campgrounds. There's a ton of little things to move and work off of. So we'll be able to see some guys make some good plays here. And we've got Prox now coming up. Shots coming out from behind. Tagged in the back. Knows that he has to press up and get this over this ridge line so that he has some hard cover. Goes into the smoke. He's just going to go ahead and make use of that. And Lifted is right inside it with them. Neither one of them can see each other. Smoke's gonna lift and Prox is gonna go down. It's one of those situations where we saw somebody get cover and the smoke disappears on them, kind of like Aladdin in game one.
On board with Shurima Wizard here after that engagement, but Lifted should just fall over. It's gonna be Jerk Chicken picking up this kill. The top 20, we are going to start to be able to pick out some of these names and see who may be able to finish on top. Y2 moving back just a little bit.
Yeah, YT2Tap going to back up just a little bit there off of that gas nade. And we've got Da FPS here in the middle of this smoke nade in a fight with Drassel. He does have Monster behind him. Yeah, Carta picking up that kill onto YT2Tap. Shurima here, though, getting healed up in this gas, or in this smoke nade. And we got shots coming out. Storming goes extremely low, stays cool under pressure, takes out 50 Shades, but catches it in the back from Memo.
Memo still inside of this camera. We're on board with Carter, who is on fire here, needs to start to get the healing going to throw out a Molotov of his own, but Carter going to go down right now. LG Drazzle going to pick up Jerk Chicken, who had recently gotten a kill. Sharima Wizard does have the assist on that one as well. We have our top 15 as Zeeth does fall down, and as we can see, a lot of players opting to stay inside of this gas. Harry Frogbat slightly removed from the combat here. Crumb taking some serious damage inside of the gas, posted up behind that rock, and Thump gets cut down. He was one shot. Candyvan just comes out of that camper, makes this one a really easy kill. Crumb inside of the gas, going to throw out as many smokes as possible to try to avoid the fight in these last seconds of the game, but will just choke out here. And now we see Drazzle with a line on Harry Frogbat, who seemed to be removed from the fight, but it is Sharima Wizard to take the most ugly assault here, falling very dangerously low. Apex Shay inside the gas, going to choke out with a Dren, and Harry Frogbat comes out on top from Drazzle, and we see that Harry Frogbat might just get cut down right here. He does put down the smoke, but Da FPS should be able to get some shots in, getting that Molotov cocktail right into that POI, but Harry Frogbat still staying up here. We do see Memo fall down off screen as well. Candyvan hanging out in the camper should go down here as well.
Yeah, Da FPS trying to get some Molotovs off there, not quite able to connect on a Harry Frogbat, but he is going to step out, and it looks like he walks through the gas nade, goes down to Da. We're now back on board with Razar here. Haven't seen a ton from him yet this match. We'll see if he can maybe set this up. He does not like this camper whatsoever, getting his knuckles warm as he punches it up, and we can start to see how this is going to edge out. A ton of kills there, just open up a lot of ground for all these players to work with, each guy kind of having his own corner. Nightwalker taking a little bit of damage there. Razar down to almost 10%, and we have Razar in the smoke nade. We can see him right there ahead. Hail Blood Inferno, or Hail Prodigy Ace is going to hop on board, gets Flashbang, running around trying to find it through the flash, still manages to find Jeesh and get the kill. Now pushing up, has to stop the heal though.
Rizar is one of the main players to be looking for here, already having a high finish, and we can see if Rizar can just stay out of this fight a little bit longer, already in the top 6, the amount of points that Rizar can grab here may be able to propel Rizar into a top placement. We can see a decent spread right now between our players. Rizar is inside of this camper. We have Nightwalker hanging out by this tree. If these two players get into a fight here, this could be the most important fight for our entire Legends tournament. Inside the camper now is going to be Nightwalker. He can see that clear line onto Rizar, may actually shoot out. Both of these players going to go for it. This is going to be absolutely huge. Nightwalker gets cut down by Rizar.
Yeah, Razar, I think, has gone ahead and locked himself in. I don't know that there's anybody left alive that can get enough points to bump him out of that #1 spot. We'll see if he can maybe do it again and take down 2 games out of 3, though. It would be a really impressive thing to do. Monster gonna find Candyvan with that shotgun on the head tap, and we are down to 4 players remain in our final game of Legends.
We have our players in their 4 corners right now. Both Rizar and Noble going to be inside of that smoke for just a little bit, but Da FPS and Prodigy Aces may actually start this fight a little bit early. No one wants to be the first one to step out. Da FPS going to be on top of this hill, moving back and forth into that POI, just checking all of his bases, trying to find the best place to stand. Right now, he does also have that gas at his back. That is going to ensure just a little bit, not going to get pinched here at the end. Noble Monster now stepping outside of that smoke finally, and it is just a moment until we actually see one of these players try to light up the skill feed.
Yeah, we're going to see this gas start moving in just about a minute here. None of these guys really want to be the first one to move. This is their last chance to take down a match. All these guys just kind of hanging out, and we are going to see that safe zone be very close to Razar. Razar with the shortest distance to travel to it, but towards the center there, he's going to have some cars. Everybody has cover on their way in, especially if they have a smoke nade or 2 to throw out. We're going to see all these guys have to collapse into each other in the middle of this.
Prodigy Ace is starting to inch up just a little bit. Da FPS seems to be the one that could punish him for this. Prodigy Ace is trying to avoid that, though. Playing it very patient here. This could be what, oh man, moving up right into that shot could be so dangerous. Rizar right now behind the camper can see Noble Monster. Noble Monster inching up just a little bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is the calm before the storm. This last part always plays out crazy. Rizar gets tagged a few times from Monster. Rizar down to 36, trying to get behind these tents. Not able to take cover, though. The bullets go right through the tents. They do not give hard cover. He is going to step out into the open, trying to get away, and Monster is going to finally get that final shot into Rizar, but I think that he is probably taking this one down, and he's feeling very good about his placement here today.
Yeah, definitely, and the main thing, too, to look out with Monster, he's able to take out Rizar. So that does actually potentially jump him up a little bit. Rizar, though, definitely in a commanding position here. We will have to see with how this match actually does play out. But on top of that, getting that kill puts Monster in a great place to potentially take this game as the #1 finish and also take down the additional 5K and FPS, going to get cut down by Prodigy Aces. And now it is all on Monster to jump into this fight. He is ahead, and Monster going to be able to just take this one. And look, 5 kills as well. $5,000 going to go to whoever had the top amount of kills.
I do believe that is going to be Monster. I believe with that kill, he wins the game, and he takes home $5,000 to line his pockets.
And hey, taking that first place should jump him up in the placement as well. But let's take a look at the placements overall for this match. Entering game #1, we see Chipsy grab 7 kills. Game #2, Sweet Dreams able to take 6. Now in game 3, Monster going to be able to take 5. But look at the amount of pours that Rizar was able to take here.
Yeah, Rizar able to take 4th. That is most likely going to bump him into that first place position. Monster going to be able to probably jump up into that top 10 and make up a little bit more placement in those top 10s. Prodigy Aces, we're going to see a lot of these guys. I think we're going to see a lot of shakeup in that top 10 overall.
Yeah, that is going to be a really interesting thing to see as we actually do see the overall standings right now for all 3 of our games, and that will be the key stats to pay attention to, because that will actually tell us who our winner is. For Legends, we did 3 games. All of those games, you got points for your placement and you got points for your kills. All of those added together will actually give us our champion.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that we're definitely going to see some shakeup in that lower half of the top 10. Most of those guys still going to be up there in that upper half, but I think that there was definitely some room for some guys that were maybe on the bubble in that 11th through 15th, maybe 11th through 20th, depending on how they placed in this match, to bump up into that top 10. So I think it's going to be a lot of a shakeup.
Yeah, there were a lot of those guys that we actually did see being completely dominant in the first 2 games, getting eliminated quite early in this 3rd game. So that is the thing that really does slam that door open and give some of these players an opportunity to jump up and potentially get into prizing the top 10. Will be taking home cash today. $2,000 though for 10th place. And then on the other end of the spectrum, first place able to grab just an absolutely astronomical $80,000.
I mean, $80,000 for 3 matches. I mean, matches last right around probably 30 minutes. 35 minutes for a pro team, or a pro player. So I mean, 90 minutes. That's a high payout per hour. That's a good hourly rate.
I mean, you had to get invited to get here though in the first place. So definitely a huge amount of work that did go into it, and it is great to just see a tournament like this go down. And the esport is only growing right now. We're going to see for H1Z1 not only tournaments like this, but also a pro league, which was announced at the beginning of Twitchcon. A whole bunch of huge announcements, so definitely go back and check all of them out. But now we are going to get to see who actually is going to be the #1 from our Legends. Let's take a look at the standings for all 3 of the matches and Legends overall. It's going to be Rizar. Yeah, I mean, it's just so tough. But look, Noble's Monster actually is able to jump up there with that finish towards the end, absolutely slaying out. In 3rd place going to be Apex Shay, and Rhino drops all the way down though at the end to 7th.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see a ton of shakeups. So we saw Memo, Prodigy Aces, and FPS all sneak in, and we saw a lot of people bump down. So I mean, that last game definitely shook up that top 10. There was a ton of movement there in this overall top 10.
Yeah, it's great to look at the standings, but now we actually want to crown these champions. We have Jose on the floor for our award ceremony.
Thank you guys so much. How about that final? Right? It came down to the finish, but we have the top 3 competitors from that match, and our 3rd place finisher winning only $30,000. Apex Shay. Apex. They were chanting your name, did you hear it?
5.
Congrats, man. Here you go. Here you go. That trophy is worth $30,000. Take that home, enjoy it, keep it safe.
3.
Feel confident?
Yeah, I feel
feel better and come back and place higher next time. Now you have to leave because you're bronze. Sorry. If you were gold, I would let you talk. And in second place, winning $50,000, Monster. He's a monster.
Let's go.
Monster, man. Congrats. Here you go. You get the microphone. I'm just kidding.
Oh, wow.
You have to host now.
What's up, guys?
No, I'm just kidding. Here, you can have the trophy. $50,000, man. How does it feel? You can't talk because you're not first. Sorry. Thank you so much, man. I'm just kidding. Enjoy your day, bro. Thought I was going to let him talk. What is it, amateur night? No, because right now, I get to crown who I call today the greatest legend in H1Z1 on October 22nd only, because he's going to have to keep claiming that title every day. Give it up for our first place winner, and now $80,000 richer, Razar. He almost died. We almost lost Razar, bro.
Thank you.
Razar, you won the first match. The guy who won the first match yesterday in All-Stars came out the winner. Is this a strategy you knew was going to, as soon as you won that first match, did you realize that it was over and pretty much you were going to take the crown?
I mean, the first two games are the most important because in the third game, everyone's going to go for kills. And I just thought I had to win either the first or second, and I won the first.
I mean, you were talking to me earlier. You said 13-hour flight to get here. Is the payoff worth it?
Yeah, like the H1 community as well. I love all of them. I'm proud to be a part of this game, so thank you.
So what are you going to do with $80,000?
I don't know, skins?
Skins.
Oh, and free Darren.
And when did you realize that first place was in your reach?
I was in the carnival in the first game, and everyone was dying around me. And I got out, I killed Storman, and everyone else was fighting past me. I was by myself. I killed Sweet Dreams, and then I had that position. And then all I had to do was kill the last two.
I believe we even have some highlights. So we're going to take a look at some of your replays for the day. You remember this one?
Yeah.
That was well done. It's nice. How did that feel?
Yeah, I knew he was low from when he rushed fast, so I just had to kill him.
So walk me through this kill right here. I know you remember it.
So I got to that rock, and I saw this guy come out the gas. I thought I had to get rid of him, otherwise he's going to backstab me.
How about this one? Remember this one?
Yeah, yeah. So he came out the gas, and I saw him and took him down.
Oh, this one was nice. Knocking on the door, letting him know who's here.
And then, yeah, and I nearly died. See, right there, I was there the whole game, that place. It was really lucky.
That's what they call camping. Because you're in a camper.
We love H1.
And this is what it takes to be the $80,000 man.
Yeah, you just got to hold a position.
Well, I just have to say, congratulations once again. Thank you so much for flying all the way out here and winning the Legends H1Z1 Invitational. Enjoy your celebration. Razar, ladies and gentlemen. Go spend some of that money on skins. We're going to be giving away some skins right after this with a little deal or steal, so stay tuned for that. That final was bananas, and we are just about an hour away from the Challenger Invitational. But first, let's take a moment at what we've seen so far from H1Z1 Invitational. Those aren't highlights. Lies.
It is the utility. It is the execution of aesthetic that makes a product 7-inch by